I said, don't we already have that? Thought we did. Samuel Bland Award.
Oh, well, that's.
Not English and politics. That's the guy who has a big golf cart.
Old fella, 90-some years old.
I'm sorry.
Everybody
His daughter just come home. Wife died, daughter came home. Be with dad. Huh? Oh. Well, his daughter came home to take care of him. I remember when he was cleaning up that golf cart during the.
That's always
He said, "This won't be for my daughter." Come home.
to go start
No,
many of
just
y'all,
talk about, we'd love to have you stop by.
and any of y'all stop by.
Funny, that's the way you want to be in that place. I lived up on the highway.
Cool.
Also fire and rescue. Really. Just go. All the departments.
Okay.
Everything. Our house, top of high roll, our one off.
I don't, look at that weed summer.
Say hi, and sometimes
Scheduled salary.
Sir, are you on?
He's too much out of skew once and
Hey, Ed,
I'm doing better. Now that I'm
good to
getting
see
home.
you. Good to see
That
you.
made my day right
Yeah,
there.
it's been a
I
while.
don't see John Barlow.
I think
John Barlow?
You're good.
right now.
Good, I got a good hand.
Doing all right. Good. See that one.
125,
Oh, yeah.
150, one together. I got no problem.
Let's go.
We have a haircut. Yeah. We go easy. Back. This is great. Water.
I'm going to show you my hair. Let me,
Right.
let me do my pull out.
Always, like,
What you got? Presents?
but even.
Cracking.
Okay.
Yeah. January 23rd. I don't know, I mean, I remember this conversation, but geez.
I like Brett.
Yeah. How you doing this morning? Good, how are you? Is your mom good?
Yes.
Sir?
We'll know Wednesday. All good.
Not gonna break this?
Oh, yeah.
Goodness.
My motorcycle jacket.
Goodness. Okay, thank you, sir. Woo! I was a little worried about that. Here, you pick. Oh, Pat.
Those with late vote? gonna make the right call. Good enough miles then?
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
no, never mind. That's fine.
You know,
Yeah.
when they put the air conditioner on here, I'll freeze.
Oh, you're right over there, brother.
You guys see the contract?
There, back a lot of life.
I need it back.
No, but they're making sure that I don't.
Oh, yeah, and the new
Right,
app.
right, right.
Yeah. Good.
You guys found what?
So, they don't mind.
Push us out of the way, that's all right.
I thought it was on the agenda, but then I didn't see it. No,
Don't pour air. Where's that?
He used to work with. He's a bulldog.
He is a bulldog.
I'm being
He gets his teeth in this.
Oh, is there? No, come on, Joe.
He gives finger.
Well, yeah, I knew I
He
was
won't be
gonna,
intimidated.
I knew I was gonna like Keith, before I met him, because our guy just sold us our house. What's that? Do not let cost be part of the way. I went looking for Keith, so he could.
He lives right around the corner.
Yeah,
Hit
I
a
know.
golf ball from your house.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Are you guys gonna do the golf tournament?
Oh, I don't think
You gonna do the golf tournament?
No, I can't play golf.
I drink
It
beer.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll just go there and drink beer. Joe, I'll have to
You
drive-
can ride in the car,
Joe, I have to drive you.
put somebody else's sticks in the back, and you can drink.
I've done
And then
that.
on the scorecard, we just give you a six for every hole.
I used to be the driver for anybody.
Here's the way I
Well,
play.
you don't know what the rest is gonna be. Oh, yeah.
Keep on going.
I will. Just like Saginaw.
Yep.
Are you going to see the change?
Food, right?
Well,
that sounds
that was
bad,
because it was for the.
I didn't drink no liquor.
I drank.
I drank.
Gonna be more
What is
costly down the road. Because prices are gonna. Can't afford right. Yeah. Are you serious?
This weather.
Leaving Florida Thursday.
I'm right there. I know what.
Good.
Rain.
What is this fancy package?
Oh, it's the.
The only hope.
It's this. I finally found it today. I can get it on my personal computer.
Yeah.
No.
Or watch it.
I
I
am,
like this here, that, garden people.
Mhm.
Those still getting rich.
you know, it's a low cost there.
Maybe I was just
So I'm going, flying down there. But,
down limit.
and, yeah. The flight itself, if you don't take it, seven. But, they, again, you can take. So.
This gum real quick.
Hey, Red. No, it's Casual Tuesday. Casual Tuesday.
Did
Joe.
something happen? The sound.
You want
Okay. Yeah. Don't call me. I always call you that.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen,
Did it take the rest?
ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kalina, welcome. Hey, guys, if you could help me out, if you're not on duty, got a bunch of officers here in uniform, please turn your phones to off, silent, sleep. Okay, so mine's completely off because I have made that mistake, folks. If you have a sidebar, something that you'd like to discuss, please take it out in the foyer and close the doors behind you. If for some reason, which I'm going to try to manage this so it doesn't happen, it's kind of excuse everybody at once. But if we do have a mass exodus, if you would close the doors behind you, because I know, a lot of excitement, whether it's a new police officer celebrating or whatever. So close those doors behind you if we end up doing a mass exodus, okay? And if you have to have a sidebar, you don't like something the mayor said, and so you whisper over Miss Kathy's ear, I can't believe you said that. Well, take that out there and come back at public session and you can say, hi, Mayor, I can't believe you said that, okay? Is that all fair? Everybody good?
Good Lord, another one.
All right, well, we are thankful for all of you, and
Yep, thank
we'll
you.
get
Still want
started
some
here
damn
shortly.
trees, don't we?
We got one more package delivered here. All right, everybody please rise, and if you can, and then please remove your cover, and we'll open up in prayer. Father, thank you. Thank you for every soul that is in this room, and thank you for sending your Son for every person that is in this room. We thank you for our town and how we're blessed. We're blessed by the people who live here. We're blessed by the waterfront. We are just really have a great place to live, and we thank you for that. And may we not forget what a special place we have. Do pray for the commissioners tonight, Lord. I pray that they would just have wisdom in the questions that they ask and the decisions that they make. And Lord, we thank you for the two folks that we get to swear in tonight, that they get to be a part of our family, a part of our team. And we pray that we would just honor them well and that they would be able to honor the team and the town well. Father, we give you all the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. And tonight we are honored to have Officer Phil Malloy do the Pledge of Allegiance for us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We do not have anybody signed up. Oh, you may be seated. Sorry. We do not have anybody signed up for public comment, but as usual, we'll give that opportunity to anybody for public comment. Okay, we'll close public comment at this time. Board members, you have an agenda in front of you. You've had an opportunity to review it. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moving forward here. All right. So it's my privilege tonight to get to honor, it seems like in March, April, and May, we get to honor a lot of staff at one time. And so it's my honor today to get to, let's see, yeah, I picked the right one. We get to do Public Works first. So I'd like to invite Tank up and the Public Works crew. And Tank, I see you got a piece of paper. Do you have some words you would like to say? All right, as soon as everybody gets over here, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute then.
Good evening. I'm Tank Bates, and I'm the Director of Public Works for the town of Swansboro. I'd like to introduce the crew, the ones that actually get the work done that needs to get done around the town. First, I got Scott Brinkley, who is my crew leader. Scott is entering his 13th year with the town. Next to him is Fred Herring, and he is Assistant Crew Leader, entering his 5th year with the town. Kyle Littleton is next. He's a maintenance tech, entering his 3rd year with the town. Ryan Swain is after him, entering his 3rd year with the town. Joey Pierce, who is not present, he's on vacation. He is entering his 2nd year with the town. Ryan Smith, the maintenance tech next to Aaron, is just finished his 6-month probation. Dan Bonacore is in his 4th month of his 6-month probation. And on the end is Justin Webb, our dock master / downtown supervisor, entering his 8th year with the town. Real quick area of responsibilities, we have public streets that we take care of. We have 35 miles of public streets, 19 miles of DOT streets, and 15 miles of town streets that we are responsible for, meaning that we maintain the potholes and things in the town streets. We edge, we weed eat, and we just police them up as much as possible. And then we cut the sides of the roads of the DOT roads 6 times a year. Public buildings, we are responsible for 12 public buildings, 9 main buildings, and 3 park bathroom buildings. Stormwater, we're responsible for maintaining and repairing 119 easements or pipes totaling 17.909 miles. Solid waste, we're responsible for the weekly yard waste run throughout the town, picking up the yard waste from residents and taking it out to the dump. We also have the yearly annual spring clean sweep that we do, and then the policing of all of the public grounds and streets and parks to make sure that the trash is up there. Grounds maintenance, we're responsible for all the ground maintenance of all of the parks and public grounds adjacent to the public buildings, and that is about 25 acres of land that we're responsible for, weed eating, edging, and cutting all the grass. The dock master downtown supervisor is responsible for the daily operation of the Church Street dock, the repair and maintenance of the Church Street dock, the Main Street dock, and the Moore Street dock. Also responsible for the daily upkeep and maintenance of the downtown historic district. And then there's special events and projects that we are tasked with at the direction of the town manager, which would include things like building the pedestal for the swan that is outside town hall here, another pedestal being built down at the visitor center for the next swan, Christmas flotilla, the Mullet Festival, and 4th of July. We man those, do the trash run and things like that. We also put up and take down all the Christmas decorations throughout the town for the holidays. There's no shortage of work for the 8 men that take care of this. So I would ask you for a round of applause for all that they do for this town. Thank you.
So when you have a crew of men, in this case, you also need a good leader. In this case. So Tank has been absolutely fantastic leading our public works. And these guys, I don't think I've ever heard a complaint out of these guys on Tank. I think he leads well. Do you get a few? You give it a little bit? But he also serves well. And one of the things I like about Tank, and I've shared this before, but it's getting a little old, but it's cool because he gave me a new one about a week ago. So was it 2 years ago? I saw him over in our neighborhood, and Tank was down on his knees picking up stuff to make sure that the spot that they left was clean. That type of servant mentality that he has. So I was driving through, as I normally kind of drive around town, and right over here at the Church Street, who's got the weed eater out and who's sweeping and making sure everything's spotless over by the school? Tank. And that's the type leader he is. So he leads by serving and leads by example. And you have an excellent crew here. Scott, how many years? Too old? 13 years. I thought it was up there because Scott, well, you still kind of keep the grass mowed over at the rec center, right? We all do. Okay. I got to be careful here. So, well, just appreciate you, Scott. We'll stop there. So, hey, let me read this to you guys. Appreciate all of you. Y'all do a great job. And let me encourage you, if they're riding by, if you happen to see them, grab a case of water out of your refrigerator and take it out to them. Grab a Gatorade, take it out to them, and just to say thank you. It's an easy way to say thank you. All right, whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, streets, highways, public buildings, and solid waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities is whereas their planning, design, construction are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of our public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitudes and understandings of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, I, John Davis, Mayor of the town of Swansboro, on behalf of the board, declare today and this week, well, we'll declare today Public Works Day. How about that? Does that work for you guys? All right. So we got Public Works Day today, and we declare May 19th through the 25th of 2024 National Public Work Week. Well done to all of you. I'm sure the board would like to shake your hands. I invite you to go by and see the board.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everything.
And long time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Sir, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I believe we're going to change the order, give these guys a chance. Are you guys leaving or hanging out? They're ready to go. All right. I see how it is, Fred. I see how it is. If you haven't hung out with Fred, you need to. It'll make you laugh all day long. All right, so it is my honor to get to swear in an officer today. So we'd like to invite Chief and the officer, if I don't mess this up, Stutes. All right, come on up, Officer Stutes. Make sure I get the right swearing in here and bring up your brother and your mom. Let's see, I'm getting it now. So your left hand on the Bible, right hand in the air. All right. So I'm going to say I, and then you're going to state your name, and then we're going to go real slow through there because I'll tongue twist it and mess it up, and I want you to have a nice swearing in, okay? All right, very good. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support and maintain and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States. Well done. That I will be alert and vigilant to enforce the criminal laws of this state. That I will not be influenced in any manner on account of personal bias or prejudice, and that I will faithfully and impartially execute the duties of my office as a police officer according to the best of my skills, abilities, judgment, So help me God. Congratulations.
So long.
That black. That black. Officer. Please sign. Page 24. Today's date is 14. All right. Sir.
Congratulations.
All right, now that we have let him walk all the way over there and be seated, now we're going to invite all the officers back up. I got this in the right order?
Yeah.
Okay, so officers, please come forward. Detectives, too,
Goodness.
and former police officers, I believe, as well, yeah?
Got one that's a former. Not too long.
All right, Chief, go ahead, you have some words?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd just like to introduce everybody. As you see, we probably had a few more we've had in the past. We're building our agency back up. We've had a lot of vacancies to fill, and right now we're short just one person, but we've already started the paperwork to process that person and fill that one last spot. Right here on the end, we have Lieutenant Ben Brim. He's been with the town 12 years. We have Sergeant Brenna Watt. She's been with the town on 7 years. Next order is Officer Brendan McCullen. He just got sworn in back in March. Next to him is Officer Kimberly Schott. She come to us from Jacksonville PD. She's got 5 years experience. And she was sworn in also in March with Officer McMullen. And then, of course, Officer Stutes, who just started. Next to him is Officer Luke Holt. He's in his second year. He's got just over a year and a half, but he's in his second year and doing a good job. Next to him, we have Detective Austin Ray. He came to us from Greensboro PD, where he had 8.5 years. And he's just passed his first year here with us. Next to him is Officer Daniel Wilson. He got sworn in back in February. And then we have Officer Amanda Hips. She just passed her 6-month mark, so she's looking forward to getting that first year out of the way. We'll skip that gentleman there and go to the end. We have Officer Chris Howard. He's one of our reserves. He's been with the town for just over 10 years. The gentleman I skipped is Lieutenant Phil Malloy. He just hung up his duty belt this past December, and we'll see him a little bit later. And Phil Malloy, he had 20 years with us, so gave us a lot of good years.
We could have a whole roasting time just for Phil.
I know, we could, yeah.
All right. Well, before I read the proclamation, I do want to just say the word that you guys don't like to hear, but that's the way it's supposed to be. You guys are heroes. I know y'all don't like to hear that, but what you do, every single one of you, to save our lives, to protect us, to keep us out of danger. I know we're missing at least one.
We're missing a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
They're on, one's on vacation,
I know
one's
a couple
out.
of, like, tackled people with guns, which, wow, that's amazing. And, we still are holding on to the fact, and I pray that you will not have to fire or discharge your firearm at another human. But if it happens, then you do the right thing to protect yourself. But I am thankful through your chief and through the leadership team on this side of things that you guys have not discharged your firearm at a human in a really, really long time. I think somebody told me it was back in the 60s or 70s or something.
Early 70s, yeah.
Yeah. So I actually found that out after the last time I'd stated that. So that's something we're proud of. We support you 100%. I don't care what you see on the news, nationally, locally. I can promise you there's not a member of that board back there behind you that does not have your back. We support our officers and our fire 100%. You guys, we depend on you, and we recognize that. All right, so with that, we've got the proclamation, and it's my privilege to be able to read this to you guys. Whereas Congress and the President of the United States has designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week at which May 15th falls on is National Police Week. So tomorrow, let's go ahead and do this now so I don't forget. Tomorrow is your day, so in Swansboro, May 15th is our Swansboro Police Officer Day. Okay? We got that? That means y'all don't have to work tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody's got to work. All right. Whereas the members of Swansboro Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Swansboro. It is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And the men and women of Swansboro Police Department and all agencies of Onslow County and its municipalities are to be commended for their dedication and service to the people in potentially dangerous circumstances every day. Now, therefore, I, Mayor John Davis, and the Swansboro Board of Commissioners hereby call upon all citizens, upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 12th through the 18th of 2024 as National Police Week, with the appropriate observances in which all our people may join commemorating law enforcement officers past and present, who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Furthermore, we call upon all citizens of Swansboro to observe May 15th, 2024 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community and have become disabled in performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. This May 14th, May 2024. Please join me in thanking and applauding these guys. So, back in 2003, right before I got here, the town made a really great decision, and that is they hired this guy called Phil Malloy. And I think it's one of the best decisions the town has ever made. I'm not sure I've ever heard a cross word out of any officer, detective, or chief in my time that I've been here about Officer Malloy. He has literally almost to the date 20 years, started in December of 03 and ended in December of 23. He has served as auxiliary, is that the correct word? Reserve. So when he stepped down from being full-time, he stepped into reserve. And you may remember going to the Mullet Festival and seeing this crazy guy on a four-wheeler zooming up 24 past the parade, and everybody's going, who is that? Well, now you know. It was Phil. But he's always there. He even gave me a ride down to the pavilion one time because I was running late to say something. He said, get on the back. Here we go. I will never do it again. So, but we made it, didn't we, Phil? So, but he has been amazing. He has been an outstanding officer. He's been recognized by the county. I believe the sheriff department has even recognized him. We recognized him at the county-wide event where we recognize our fire and our police and our EMS. I believe you got Officer of the Year, is that right? Lifetime Achievement Award. So that he is respected not only in the town of Swansboro, but throughout all of Onslow County. Also, probably leaving out retired Marine, correct? Okay, so this guy right here is the shoulders that you guys and myself, we stand on in order to keep going to the next day. I hope I didn't steal all your thunder, but at this time I'll turn it over to Chief to, it's our honor for the town to be able to recognize you.
Bill, step on over here, please. LT. Hope I can get through this, but I've been here for 14 of those 20 years, Phil. It'll be tough, brother, but you know you always got a place in our house. So don't ever stop coming by. These guys here, they need a lot of guidance, and you can give it to them. But like the mayor said, whenever we had, even when he quit being full-time and became a reserve, whenever we had festivals, this guy was at every festival. You know, and there wasn't a day where he said, I can't lace up my shoes and put on my belt and come out there. We all appreciate it, Phil. So as a show of our token of our appreciation, we'd like to award this to you. The Swansboro Police Department, Lieutenant Phil Malloy, with appreciation for 20 years of dedicated service to the Swansboro community. Congratulations, brother.
Kind of heavy. It's not wood. It's a piece of slate. I better not throw it at anyone. Yeah, I've been through, 4 chiefs, 5 chiefs. I started out with, of course, Pug. Pug's the one that hired me. He tried 3 or 4 times to hire me before I even retired from the Marine Corps. It's like, come on, retire. Be a police officer with us. And, once I did retire, I took care of all the honeydews at home, which took me a couple of months. And after that, the wife said, hey, find something to do or I'll kill you. So next thing coming up was police academy. So I got Chief Puglisi to sponsor me. Went to the police academy and became a cop here in Swansboro. I've been through quite a few things here. It's all been good. It's all been excellent time with the officers. I mean, I really enjoy being around the other officers. It was a wonderful time, and I'm just happy that I was able to do that. I hope I was able to pass on some words of wisdom over the years, and I'd like to keep doing that. Keep coming down here and those words of wisdom coming. Thank you.
So instead of asking Phil to come to you guys, we'll reverse this today. So officers first, give you guys the privilege of shaking Phil's hand as y'all go roll back to your seats. You may want to take 20 steps back and start at that end with the board and shake the board's hand. So if I could get all y'all to slide back and shake the board's hand, and then y'all can shake Phil's hand. And then board, if y'all will fall in behind the officers, and y'all can shake Phil's hand.
There you
All right, officers, y'all begin when you're ready. The old guy. Does he dye his hair? Is that why it's not great?
I like it.
If I could get one last applause for Phil. All right. Let's see, where did the Bible go? Oh, cool, thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to invite the town manager, Mr. Paul, up. And do you have somebody here with you? Okay, very good. There you go. Left hand on the Bible, right hand in the air. Guess we should introduce this guy first. We're getting ready to swear in Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul, what's your last name for me, please? Ingram. So he is our new inspector. So we are excited to have him. He comes very highly recommended. I said he should, from what I've heard, he should be mayor. And Miss Linda said after November. So you might get a promotion or a demo. It might be a demo. I don't know. In November. But we're thankful to have Paul. He comes highly recommended from Jones County, I believe. All right, very good. So it's my privilege to get to swear you in, sir. We'll read the words. I'll say I and state your name, and at that point you say I and your name. Don't say I and state your name. All right. All right, very good. All right, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are and may be established for the government thereof, that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of the United States, that I will not be influenced in any manner of account of personal bias or prejudice, and I will faithfully and impartially execute the duties of my office as a building inspector according to the best of my skills, ability, judgment, so help me God. Welcome aboard, Mr. Ingram. Folks. If you want to shake hands, I'll find the black pen that keeps disappearing. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sign right there. Congratulations. Yes, sir. All right, thank you. I think I might get to sit down. Let's see. If you need one. Okay. So, soil and water's going to be long, you said? That's what I got a gavel for. All right, we'll take a 3-minute recess and we'll come back and start with soil and water. How about that? All right.
3 minutes. Well, that means I might not come back. Good news, Jeff. Good news.
Oh, good news.
Oh, I'm.
Daz was proud? You even put that picture.
Can they do that?
Buddy. All right, folks, we're going to get started and get going again. I think for Public Works, I want to back up and just hit reverse real quick on Public Works. Doug, you had a quote, and I think it was appropriate. I know Tank's still here, and at least one more Public Works person still here, and I think that's an appropriate quote to share.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have all seen Mike Rowe before, his show. And it is true that the guys in Public Works do the kind of work that makes the rest of our lives a heck of a lot more comfortable. And Tank, there's no way we can thank you for the daily stuff that you do every day out there and your crew. And I hope that you give them my remarks from you especially on that one.
All right, very good. And I'm going to follow up one more statement to our police officers, and I know they had to leave, but again, I can't overstate the value that they are to us and the fact that they protect us and that they put their lives in the line of fire. I've said this to a couple of our staff over the last couple of weeks. We're not a town of 4,000. We may be a town of 4,000 to the Federal Census Bureau. But when you look at what we do every day and the number of people we take care of every day, we're more like a town of 40,000. So our police officers never know who they're going to be pulling on 24. And there are some pretty dangerous characters that drive down the middle of our town. So very thankful for them and that they do that for us. So with that, I don't have to invite him up because as the Rob I know, he's pretty assertive and he's already in position and ready to go. But it's my privilege to acknowledge Rob Johnson, the Soil and Water Conservation District Supervisor. And Rob, I regret that we weren't able to get you here right after you got elected or soon thereafter. I am thankful that things have changed and the respect for your elected position in Swansboro has been reestablished. And I am thankful that you get to present today and tell us about things, some of the things that we're doing, but maybe some of the things that we could learn to do better or improve or future projects. And so we're thankful you're here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Honorable Board. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you having me. And yes, my name is Robert Johnson, and I am one of 5 of the Soil and Water Conservation District Supervisors in Onslow County. And it's kind of funny because as a county supervisor, I'm actually an agent for the State Department of Agriculture, but we work through our county offices, and our administration is all employees of the county. So it's kind of a weird kind of balance. It's a symbiotic relationship. It's a lot of fun, and I really enjoy it. I am a formal environmental engineer and scientist. I was licensed in subsurface evaluation and industrial wastewater treatment. And now I'm retired here to Onslow County, and I love it. I love being back here. I really am. Last night we had our monthly meeting for our Soil and Water Board, and the one thing we did go over, we have a new director in the office. Her name is Angie Quinn. She comes from Duplin County, and she came up with our strategic plan for 2025. And there's some good things in it I wanted to share with you. First of all, the money that's involved in some of these programs is not a lot. Right now, the Ag Cost Share Program is $55,000 that we have available as funding to help with some of the crop programs that we have and the watering systems that are in the need of our county. Historically, the farmlands in our county have been using up the funding that's been available. However, Swansboro City itself has been instrumental in doing the community cost share program as an urban area or suburban area. You guys have been leading the way throughout Onslow County. When you talk about being 40,000, you're right, you're easily. It's your impact on this county with, I look around and see the cisterns that y'all have and the permeable pavement and all these operations that have been going on for quite some time. You guys are leading the county in our resource conservation. And I want you all to know that, and that's a big applause to you, okay? Right now, we're still having problems with roof runoff, parking lot runoff, and impervious surfaces. You guys are working on that. Those are our priorities right now of our funding availabilities. A little bit about myself. I will go to some pictures. That's just a fun one because who doesn't like being out on the water in the morning? It's beautiful, great. And yes, I actually do go by the name of Toad. It's been with me for a long time. And anybody that knows me knows I'm not afraid to humiliate myself. So here we go. Yes, that's me holding the Toad, the little kid with at the campsite. Working with the kids. Here we go. Soil and Water Conservation District. This is what we do. This is our plan. This is what we're supposed to be working on. This is our mission statement. To help Onslow County and all of its citizens, we're focusing on marsh sills, cisterns, and impermeable pavement at the moment. This is our purpose and function: to deliver the agricultural cost share programs, water resource assistance programs, and community conservation assistance programs in this county. That's what we do. We work that through stormwater management and all kinds of concerns, issues that as a city you guys have had, and I can't tell you what to do. You guys have been doing it well. I'm here to help you and assist and hopefully open up some ideas of how we can do things better. We know where our stormwater is coming from, where it goes. There we go, rain gardens, one of my favorite. You have a beautiful rain garden right over here, right outside the door. I love it. I want to do more of these. I want to see more of these. These are fantastic. I'm going to go through these a little fast because you guys are good at this. Typically, here's a design of a rain garden. Run your roof runoff right to a garden. I've seen some areas here in Swansboro, some new communities where the drainage is less than what we would hope. One of the things people can do is work that themselves. Rain gardens in your own house, because let's face it, there's not enough money. There just isn't for funding for everybody to go do this. But as homeowners, we can do these things ourselves. This one's mine. That covers 2,000 square feet of, oops, wrong picture. There we go. This one covers 2,000 square feet of roof. It's a 1,000 square foot garden that surrounds the perimeter of my roof that covers all the runoff. And I use it in a wicking bed. So underneath I have the stone. I have the drain pipes, and the water will sit there until those plants use it up. The actual size of this garden that I have is large enough to handle a 7.5-inch rainstorm without overflowing. 9,000 gallons of water on my roof before that overflows. The idea these days is not just to run it to the street, run it to the rivers and get rid of it. Let's slow it down, let's soak it into the ground, and let's use it where we can. That's the design underneath my garden. Rain barrels. For gardening, sometimes people have said that, oh, wait a minute, we might contaminate our garden. No. No. Research shows it does not contaminate the garden. Conclusions. Based on the study results, rain barrel water can be safely utilized to irrigate vegetable and herb gardens. Pathogens are not an issue. Advantages of gardens and communities, of course, we know all that. Typically, for our police department, of course, we know that communities with gardens have significantly lower crime. Garden Harvest. Where does our water come from? Do we know? Do we know how many aquifers that we're on? Mostly we take our water from the Castle Hayne aquifer. We were getting a lot more from the Black Creek aquifer, but since we ran into problems with overpumping, we've had to cut back. These are the numbers from Amwassa, 14 million gallons a day from the aquifers. We have 16 million gallons in above ground storage tanks. So let me ask you this. How many people have a generator at their home? How much did you spend on that generator for storms outages? Did you spend money for a redundant water system on an outage? Because if we only have 16,000 gallons in above ground storage tanks and we need 14,000 gallons a day, the math is real simple. We're going to run out real fast. I know Onwassa has been working to put in extra pumps, extra fuel tanks for these. I'm looking at basically 100 kilowatt generators, I believe they are, on a 500-gallon diesel fuel tank, which will last about 2.5 days. So by day 3, day 4, you can understand why there will be a Superdome style event for running out of water. Our deep confined aquifers are old. They're 60 million years old. For us to replenish them, it takes 20,000 years from the water to get from the mountains to our Deep Creek aquifer. And this, of course, is significant. We showed that 10 years ago, we were overpumping so much, we dropped the water level in our Deep Creek aquifer, which is the most pristine, by just about 200 feet. The state went into some guidelines and started shutting down. Onwassa has been working very well with it. There's a lot of it. Here's where our current demand goes. Most of it is public water supply. Golf courses, very little. Industry, very little. Agricultural, very little. Nuclear power, very little. But public water supply is what we're using up most. Anybody know what the average house uses? This is our cone of draw on our aquifer, by the way. That's what it looks like on a subsurface hydrologic map. Here's our saltwater delineation line. You can see how we've been sucking salt water in from the ocean. It's been that way for a number of years. That's why we had to go off the Deep Creek aquifer and start using the Castle Hayne, because it's more prolific. These are the wells in the Black Creek aquifer that the state's been monitoring, and you can see all the pink as salt water. That covers our area too. Back one. Here's our Castellane aquifer from Bogue Island. Emerald Isle put in a reverse osmosis system a few years back. They knew that they had salt water into this area already in the Castle Hayne aquifer, and they decided to go straight to the salt water and start using it. Well, they also found out that when they tested it, it wasn't as strong or more saline in it than what they expected. They've got a lot more residual chemicals in there than they thought, and it's costing them twice as much as what they thought for the filter membranes. We also have PFAS in our area. We noticed Maysville specifically ended up with PFAS in their well. We had to spend a lot of money, get money from Congress to get it out of there. $500,000 to hook up 500 people fresh water because their wells went bad. Reverse osmosis is what's going to work the best for getting these chemicals out, but reverse osmosis is also expensive on the municipal side to supply. Right now, I think the 20 million gallon a day unit down in Brunswick County is probably close to about $500 million before they finish it. Something like that. It's a lot. It's getting up there, and it's going to get more expensive as we go. We have water, but how much do you want to pay for it? These are simple reverse osmosis systems you can use at your home underneath your sink. A lot of people use them. They're all under $1,000. They help a bunch. It's a good, safe system to use, even for any other purpose. Here's our rainfall amounts. Anybody have any idea how much rain we get? We get nearly 5 feet of rain a year in this area. NC State has set up guidelines for it. If you ever want to go look it up, it's online. They've got a good program. Real simple rainwater harvesting guidelines. Catch it from the roof, put it in the tank. You have a number of storage tanks here at your maintenance facilities. This is where Onslow or Swansboro has been doing well with some of this stuff. You've been thinking ahead and trying to get this done. I know it doesn't always work. I know sometimes they want to sell things with the bells and whistles, and those bells and whistles quit after the warranty ends. If we go back to mechanical fittings that last 100 years and having somebody keep an eye on it, yeah, pay somebody to keep an eye on it and turn that valve once in a while. That's not so bad. Stop by first thing in the morning and check the level in the tanks. Those things aren't so bad to do. Here's another one for a house. You can see on the second floor how they have a reverse osmosis system under the sink, but in the cellar they have other attachments and cisterns. Rainwater filtration systems, I'll skip through that. We can get past that. Here we go. Here's some numbers you're going to like. Average homeowner use, and these are right from UNWAS's numbers. The average home use for all their taps that they have is 6,000 gallons a month for every 4-person home. The average house in Onslow is about 1,800 square feet. You figure out the rainfall on it, and there's 5,062 gallons on that average house averaging every month. A deficit, or that's 83% of what that house could use. But yet we let it go. It's a gift from God, and we let it go down the road. Gardens usually use about 1 inch a week. Minimum family of 4, 1,500 square foot garden can easily feed a family of 4. In Jacksonville, the lot size is about 11,000 square feet. The monthly rain on that lot is 30,000 gallons. If you put in the garden and the roof collection, that's 9,000 gallons. You just saved 30% of your non-point source pollution runoff. You just saved 30% of that rain from ending up in the river or in the road, flooding other people. In 2021, City of Jacksonville spent, a lot of money. Stormwater maintenance alone was almost $3 million. Water supply and maintenance, $10 million, and then for the capital improvement project, another $55 million. $65 million. Had they spent $65 million on rainwater harvesting, half of the city of Jacksonville would have a rainwater harvesting system in their house today. There's less than 20,000 taps in the city of Jacksonville. And they use 4 million gallons a day. Now that also adds up because now we start talking about the stress on our infrastructure. We know we have issues out on North Topsail. We're putting in a new pump station to help boost the pressure out there. Why do we need so much pressure out in North Topsail? Because everybody comes off the beach, turns on that outdoor shower, and lets the water run away. Can we do something about putting rainwater harvesting out there? At least for the outdoor showers? How much water would that save us? Would that save us water pressure? Would that save us maintenance on our system? The less stress we put on our system results in less maintenance. Those are the numbers for the city of Jacksonville. That is the application to apply for grant funding through the Soil and Water Conservation Office. I would love to help you guys with any of this. If you guys have plans that you want to do this, I am all for it. I will help you in any way I can. I'm hoping that we can open up some eyes and see how that we have such an abundance. And I just want to see us use it more wisely. Let's not waste it. Let's see what we can do. I'm flabbergasted that we have a quarry down the road that wastes just as much water in any one day that our entire county uses, and they just dump it in a creek because we didn't think ahead of time to start putting in wells to lower the water system before they started digging. We can't take it from an open mine, but if we put well points in beforehand, before we open up a quarry and start draining the water level down and putting it into our system, now we're dewatering the quarry and we're feeding our municipal supply system at the same time. These are the kind of things that we need to start thinking. How long are we going to continue going the way we are? When can we start taking responsibility for ourselves? When can we have our own rainwater harvesting system set up to wash our cars, clean our sidewalks, hose off the house, flush our toilets? In the last 2 years since I've been on this board, first thing we did was set recommendations for our Onslow County School Board. And we sent them recommendations. Let's start using our new school systems as facilities to teach our kids how to use water. UNC Chapel Hill, 20 years ago, dropped $10 million of their own money and started a cistern system to reclaim their water. To this day, they're saving 60% of the water that they used to use. And they're saving themselves $2 million a year. It does work. We can do this, but we have to buy into it. And it's a matter of personal responsibility and getting it done ourselves. We're all a piece of the puzzle. And that's all I got.
So, Rob, if I may,
Yes.
grants.
Yes.
You brought to my attention that a grant that we had allowed to elapse a couple years ago, was that resolved?
It was resolved. Unfortunately, because the grant was applied for and it was 90% done, there was only a little bit of money left to actually finish it. It didn't take much. It was on the city to do it. That didn't happen. So it kind of knocks your rating down a little bit when they go to look at where they're going to dish out grants to. Not a lot, but it's still,
So that
it's a blemish.
grant's already been closed out?
Yes.
And we did not complete it?
Correct.
So we could still apply for grants, but
Yes.
obviously in your grading system, we'll take a deduction of something.
Yeah, and if you need to, I can leave this. The grading system is here. If you want to look up our strategic plan, the grading system is in it.
Okay. So are there specific grants that you would recommend for a municipality?
I love the community conservation grant. They call it CCAP. It's great for what y'all are doing. There's just not a lot of money in it. There's only $30,000 in it for the budget for this next year. So have to use it wisely.
How much of that $30,000 typically gets claimed?
Well, when
How
you apply,
competitive?
like our community conservation cost share program, that particular grant will pay up to 70% of the project. And right now, I'm working with the Boy Scouts also, and I'm trying to get them involved more with conservation and set up a system with them so that when they're doing Eagle projects, it will also count towards their conservation award projects. So I'm really trying to push the rain gardens, and hopefully we can get somewhere with that. You see that small one that you have out here? Not a bit of overflow in that today with all this rain. That looked great. I love that little garden there. As small as that is, that takes the roof off this entire building, and it doesn't flood. I love it.
Tank, I think you did that one, didn't you? Yeah. Gotcha.
There's one particular development, I'm not sure the name of it, and it's pretty new, and I know there's been some issues about the development, the roads getting turned over to the city or not, and the drainage issues over there. I would love to go over there and do a nice rain garden project, even if it's at somebody's house, to set it up as the model, what the rest of the neighborhood can do on their own.
So Tank, what comes to my mind is Swans Gate. Would you be willing to work with Rob on Swans Gate a little bit? Okay, so Rob, if afterwards you could get together with Tank, I think there may be some opportunity there.
Absolutely. We can work with all kinds of people to get this design. We have funds available for designing it. We even have our master gardeners for our agricultural extension. They help with rain gardens.
And I know that, like that one lady on the corner, that might be great for her, perhaps. Board members, questions, Joe?
Sure. Joe, I got to ask you, can rainwater be collected and filtered and put into the home?
Yes.
Okay, so there's no regulations about, like I punched a well when I first moved here. I put a well down anticipating my lawn and irrigation system. and I was told you cannot hook that well to your home. Don't want to, the water's not that great. But there's not there's no regulation that says if I collect rainwater, I can't put it back to a reverse osmosis and pressurize and put it into my house.
Let me clarify that. If you are already on a city tap, you have to have an airspace gap between whatever other water system you have coming into that house, which it may need extra lines, okay? Remember the days when we used to have, oh shoot, what was it? I can't remember the darn movies now, but I know Godfather's one of them, where the guy walks into the bathroom and reaches up behind the tank and grabs a gun to go out
Sure.
and shoot the other guy. The handle was up there, right?
Right.
So if we're getting rainwater off of our roof and gravity flowing into that tank, why can't we pull that handle and let it flush down into our toilet and shut off our city water down at the bottom? Something as simple as that. That's how easy it can be. The requirements for bringing the rainwater into your house for toilet use or laundry use or those things right now only require a 100-micron filter.
Okay, but still, though, on WASA, and John, you may understand this better, but everything, I've always understood in North Carolina, everything come out of the tap was credited for going in the sewer. So you pay sewage on everything. I mean, you can fill your swimming pool, and unless you tell somebody I'm filling my swimming pool with 20,000 gallons, you're going to
Bingo.
get charged drainage on that.
Bingo, that's right. Every time you flush that toilet, every time you bring water into the house, every time you wash your car with that city tap water, you're paying for the sewer on it too. Unless you go into the special process of trying to get it delineated that you're not using their sewer for it, or you're on a septic system. Miss Pat knows that kind of stuff well. She's been sitting on the board for a while. But yeah, there's ways to do it. Whether it's a redundant system with an air gap between, whether you run it to your sink, you do your own filtering and do your own reverse osmosis system at your sink so you're only drinking the reverse osmosis water, but you're using the other water to flush your toilets. Why not? I mean, that's the big
we
deal
can
about doing the
talk with
recommendations
Frankie.
for the school. Don't we teach our kids not to drink out of the toilet? I hope so.
Oh, my. Board members, other questions?
I'm good.
You good? Go ahead.
Some of it's more comment, but Rob, thank you for coming out and putting on this presentation for us. Here's what I could never figure out. We actually pay taxes to pollute our river. What do I mean by that? Because we put money into stormwater plans, and what's the stormwater plan? I got a developer in the back, you know, Junior, right? Where's that stormwater eventually get routed to? Down to the river, right? Yeah. Stormwater retention ponds and things like that, right? And
Yeah, you have
everybody pays a tax, developers, builders, homeowners. And we as municipality get the burden of having to maintain that stormwater system out there. But if
Would you
more of our residents,
Would you consider a reduction off that stormwater tax for homeowners that put in a rain garden or a rainwater harvesting system to help reduce their footprint?
incentive, right?
Yeah.
Build an environment.
That's up to you guys.
And you just stole my thunder. Build an environment for the taxpayer that says, if you do this, if you take some responsibility for this, what comes off your roof, we're willing to give you a break. That's the incentive. That's the decision we can do as a board. Good, awesome.
Put in a rain garden, get it reduced. Is that correct? Yeah, right.
Outstanding. And how we market it. I mean, this is something all of our builders and contractors are aware of. I was impressed today because I took Rob around to the public buildings we have, to the rain garden out here, a cistern on the fire department, a cistern on the public works storage building over there. Oh, by the way, there's a broken pipe on that one tank. So, yeah. I'm not calling it out. I'm going to be careful here. But I was impressed because I wasn't even aware of some of the things that were until Rob kind of walked me around, the town manager walked me around and showed me some of this stuff, and I was really impressed by it. Yep, all the impervious parking. He was impressed. He was pointing all this out to me. And so we're obviously headed in the right direction on this one.
Oh, yeah, you guys have been. You guys have been setting the pace, and I want you to do more. I really do. You always have a member on the board for Onwassa. Think about this. I heard a county commissioner say within the last few months, we cannot get the industrial clients to come to Onslow County's Burton Park because we don't have the water for them. Are you serious? 5 miles down the road at the Richlands wastewater treatment plant, that plant was set up for reclaiming wastewater. Why are we not piping that down to the industrial complex? Do we need fresh drinking water for making concrete? No. These are just ideas. I mean, you guys are in charge of this county. You guys are all deep into it. Miss Pat, I love you for what you've been doing on that stuff. And I love working with you on this. It's been a lot of fun and I really enjoy it. I appreciate it.
I do think we should probably market rain gardens and the water barrels more than we have. Because when we first started that, it was a big push to do it. It might be time to bring that out again so people know that it's available to them.
Do we do the pictures and all that cool stuff? Do we do the pictures and all that cool stuff?
It might be wise, though, to have Jimmy put something.
That's a good idea. And Pat, can you use the microphone?
Sorry. That's right. I would suggest that Jimmy put something maybe in the Tideland. I'm not sure everybody actually looks at that when it's sent out, except look at their bill and pay it. So it would probably do us well to market that a little bit better.
All right, Jeff, anything? Okay. All right, Rob, again, my regrets for our leadership in the past not working with you.
Hey, it's okay.
And I'm very pleased that you came tonight, and I learned some things tonight and some things that I need to go follow up on. So thank you again very much.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me. My phone number is out there. It's open for anybody, anytime to contact me if you want to get together for lunch and talk about ideas of what we can do, where we can work it, and how to source it. I mean, let's work together on this. Let's collaborate.
And you're going to talk with Tank after the meeting.
Just looking for your phone number, brother.
All right, cool.
It is area code 609-234-5287. Yes, I spent most of my adult working life in South Jersey, and I am so glad to be back in North Carolina.
All right, if there's no further, Mr. Rob, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, you should have some folders in front of you. We're going to turn it over to Chief Randall to discuss our emergency medical services. And just as well, maybe I should wait and see how good the data is before I say this, but no. We put Jacob in the hot seat pretty much last week and asked him to get all this done for tonight. So, Jacob, I know that probably took some extra time and efforts and extra phone calls, so thank you for pulling this together.
No problem. I do want to give a shout out to Donna Pauley at Onslow County EMS. She was getting ready to go on vacation, and she made sure to orchestrate that we got the information so that we can present tonight. Mayor, Commissioners, at the last meeting on the 7th, I was directed to get information to show you a updated heat map and data related to the events that is relocating our ambulance from our location at 609 West Corbett Avenue to the Freedom Way Station just on the other side of Belgrade Swansboro Road. And we've got the notice. So, which has officially been noticed now. Just kind of going through the packet that you have and some highlights on the board. So we are part of the Onslow County Camp Lejeune EMS system as a first responding agency. Onslow County is the only 911 transport service that services the county outside of Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune has their own. When the service and resources are depleted, they use the surrounding counties and Camp Lejeune to help answer calls for transporting. The system is broke up into these zones. It doesn't necessarily reflect the ambulances that are in these zones, however, they typically do correlate. We are Zone 5, and we'll kind of get in that here in a little bit. Zone 9 is the next one adjacent to us, which stretches just past Piney Green Road to about the Pine Valley Road area. Zone 1 and 3 is the ambulance that's located at the EOC and Center Street, which right now, because of the EOC renovations, both of those are at the Center Street location.
Are you on the next map there?
On the map directly after the cover page.
I'm looking up, this map doesn't have the pictures of ambulances.
Whoop. There you go. Yeah, I was just going over the actual zones. how they
Okay,
were
you're
labeled.
actually just covering zones, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I
No,
thought.
you're fine. I can do it from right there. So Zone 4 and 10 is the airport and Richlands. Zone 2 and 8, you have one that's at Onslow Pines. You have another one that is on 258 at the Senior Center. Zone 7 has one at the Holly Ridge Fire Department. You have Zone 6, which has two. One is at a county-owned facility just near Stone Bay. One is at the Turkey Creek Fire Department. And the red dots that look like lights are signifying where the county fire medics are. So you have a fire medic also at Turkey Creek. You have one at 9 Mile, and you have one that's with the Maysville Fire Department. So these are all the county resources that are in the system. The integrated system itself has numerous fire departments like ourselves that respond as first responders. North Topsail Beach, ourselves, and Holly Ridge are, I believe, the only three that respond to every 911 call. Medical-wise, you have a few that are higher priority, like the city of Jacksonville and Turkey Creek run kind of deltas and echoes, or that would be somebody that's having like chest pain or a cardiac arrest event. And then you have some agencies that are CPR only, so if somebody is having a cardiac event, they get dispatched out. The next map is our district. So Zone 5 is where we are located in the Onslow County system, which actually is about 78, 79 square miles of district that ambulance that was at our station covered. I have our district itself for the red is the city limits or incorporated or Swansboro Fire District. And then the darker green area is the White Oak, which is our county contracted district. So then you start getting into the heat maps. The first one you come to is incidents that was provided by the dispatch center for Zone 5 and 9, totaling between 2020 and 2023.
All right, Jacob, our map.
Yeah, this one's not going.
Different where we are. If
So
you'll guide us to the right page.
So directly after the Onslow County Zone 5 with the SFD district map.
Yeah, we got Zone 5 and 9.
Zone 5 and 9, yeah, I was trying to find that one because it don't look like it's up. Did not look.
Is it just shrinking on you? Is that what's?
Like it's not saving. So this is broken down. So this is the Zone 5, so the darker green section on the right side of the page is in your pamphlet. And then Zone 9, which is the left side. So you can see the heat signatures where it's covered up on the Zone 9, which is the left side of the page, is about the Piney Green Road, just over the little bridge that takes you into Jacksonville at the Pine Valley. You have the 172 corridor and Highway 24, which is another heat signature. And you see to the left of that on your pamphlet that there is an ambulance at the Hubert Fire Department. That is Medic 9. The ambulance in Zone 5 on these maps this is depicting the move. So from our station on West Corbett to the station, there it is right there. So that is the ambulance that is showing at the Freedom Way location. So if you can tell, the heat signatures close to the Swansboro, Onslow County, Carteret County line, which depicts where our station is very significant and prominent. You also have some heat signatures in the 172 Sand Ridge, Bear Creek Road area. 172 and 24 is a pretty good hot spot, and then back to the Piney Green area. And it shows you the 3 ambulances. So the,
All right, so you're gonna have to bear with us, Jacob, because we're all flipping pages to get to the page you're on.
so if you stay on the 5 and 9,
We got-
I'll go in order with the book if you just want to stay on the first heat map that comes up with the ambulance, which is that one, I believe you got your hand on.
This one?
Yep. So it's not going to align with this because the colors are a little bit off.
Okay.
So on that page that you're looking at, between 2020 and 2023, those were your heat signatures. Those are your very prominent areas. The one that's in the Swansboro location, if you can tell, is where our station's pretty much located.
So it's basically following 24 and then following Queens Creek, is that correct?
So it follows 24 in the Swansboro, and then the hotter area is located in the bottom left of the Zone 5, which is the green area, is your Sand Ridge Road, which is densely populated with residential area closer to the 172 corridor. And then the very hot spot located near Camp Lejeune and the far left side of your page is the Piney Green Road, Highway 24 area, which is also densely populated and growing. Flipping the page, going to Zone 5, so each of these, catch up.
That's the one we're on.
Yep. Yep. Right there. So that's the Zone 5 map that's in next in y'all's book, so that just shows you Zone 5 incidences from 2020 to 2023, also showing the very prominent area in Swansboro. Those hot spots are our senior living facilities and some of the densely populated residential areas of our district. The ambulance on that map is also depicting the Freedom Way Station. And then following that is 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 for Zone 5, which is all these. So you can see that Swansboro itself, the town, and the Zone 5 area is pretty consistent with signature heats of where the incidences are grouped.
So what is that one hot spot in Sand Ridge? What is that? There's two hot spots.
There's a bunch of residential developments along Sand Ridge Road near, when you pass the school before you get to, you're heading
Is that
back.
Shadow Creek also?
Shadow Creek would be Queens Creek, and it's back this way, and it's not showing a very heat signature. It would actually be more towards the county line on this side. So you have the highly dense area of our municipal districts with the commercial and the senior living facilities and residential area. And then off of Sand Ridge Road, you have a couple of large neighborhoods that are in between 172 and the school, all along Sand Ridge. Zone 9. So there's the total map that
Right,
starts up.
could you come back to Zone 5? We're still
sure.
a little bit in the learning phase here.
Okay.
So if you come up and the upper right side, you got 2 yellow dots.
Correct.
All right, what are those? Is that your?
More than likely, that would be Lily Circle and the Swansboro Loop Road, residential areas out that way. The small dot closest to the county line and the waterway, I can tell you that's the landings at 280 Swansboro Loop Road. You have it's a senior care facility, the comorbidities with patients that are there.
It's just the other yellow one, the cottages?
Cottages, there's a couple urgent care doctor's offices along the 24 corridor, intersections for wrecks, walk-ups to our station from people that believe that there's medical care, which there is medical care there with the fire department, but I think there's an ambulance, so they come to the station versus calling 911. You have the downtown, which is a good hot spot. The dots beyond the larger blurb would be intersections, probably from your motor vehicle accidents. And then you start opening up to randomized areas of what they would call frequent flyers, which they're trying to address with the community paramedic program.
All right, thank you. Board members, any questions as we're moving along? Good?
Good with Zone 5?
9, I guess, yeah?
Yep, 9's next. So Zone 9 pretty much stays at that densely populated area of the Piney Green. There's some lower income housings behind the church right there on the corner. You have a couple apartment complexes, the Piney Green and the Highway 24 corridor. But that's where most of your concentration is. You have a little flare up at the Hubert Boulevard, 172 Riggs Road area, which is where most of your densely populated dense population would be located as well. So after the total of 2020 to 2023 in Zone 9, they each break down to show you by year. 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, which the consistency does not change. And that just goes back to the Route 5 and 9. Any questions with that one?
So when you draw these, where, when I look at it, when I go back to the ambulance and look at the hot spots, if I'm the county, I perhaps, and maybe you disagree with me, I can almost see why they moved the ambulance and the way they staged them based on the way you're showing them on this. But on the flip side of that, if I was a mathematician and I was weighting the equation, I would be wanting to weight towards my yellow spots. So what is your opinion on how these ambulances are staged? Based on the data that you're putting to us.
Based on the
Zone
data.
9 and 10, or 9 and 5.
So based on the data, the relocation from our station to Freedom Way does put you centralized between the incidences in Swansboro and the flare-up you have on the 172 over time, which remains consistent. However, you're still not addressing the issue, and we'll get into response times in just a second, because it becomes with resource availability. While the station might be there, the resource itself is not always at that station. So your response times are another factor that you have to consider when you're looking at this evaluation.
So on the surface, this may look correct, but when you start digging into the data, you're going to show us that this may not be best.
Correct.
Okay?
So the next pages after your heat maps are your average response times, as well as your call volume. So the average 2020, 2021, 2022, I'll go to the big graph so it's easier to read. There's your average response times and total call volume for the system for our areas on 5 and 9. As you can tell and highlighted in yellow, Zone 5, which is our area, is higher in a response time as well as call volume when you compare it to Zone 9. The county system itself, we are also well above the average response time everyone else is experiencing by minutes, sometimes even more than a couple. I'd like to point out already in this year, Zone 9's got a 9:15 response time. We have an 11-minute and 28 average response time, and you've just moved our ambulance from, where it is located here at our hotspots, 3.6 to 4 miles down the road, which is placing that closer to Zone 9. So your response times to your further area, which is where your hotspots are detrimentally impacted by that move. So that was a summarization of your call volume over the years as well as your response time. And
So this is the response time, just for clarification, this 11:28.
that is from January 1st to May 14th so far with the amount of calls.
So that's without moving the ambulance. Well, minus for a weekend that they decided to.
Correct. It's still, it's still here. Like I said, the call volume the resources and the reason the pitch for a fire medic program or even exploring ALS is because of the system. The system is overwhelmed with calls. You never know where, you can put hotspots up every day. You never know where somebody's gonna have an emergency, where they're gonna call from, so.
Right, but I'm just looking at the data with the exception of the one weekend that the ambulance wasn't here, that it has been stationed here, and our response times is 11 minutes, 28 seconds.
Correct.
That's for residents of Swansboro, and again, I'm asking for your expertise here. I've been told there's the old cliche, 9 minutes saves a life. And what I'm seeing here is 2 minutes and 28 seconds past what saves a life.
Correct.
Well, we could also expect that to go up, right? We would expect that response time to go up if you move it to Freedom Way.
More
for sure.
consistently if they're responding from there,
Let me finish
correct.
my argument.
I'm sorry. I couldn't contain myself.
But 2023 is a full year's worth of data. As you can tell, the Zone 5 region was 3 minutes above the entire county's average and 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes more than the Zone 9.
So what is the entire county's average?
In 2023, it was 10 minutes and 33 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you also look at the bottom, they're answering 33,658 calls, and that's continually increasing every year.
Sure.
If you look at their budget of the accomplishments for the EMS system, they respond with up to 14 ambulances for this entire county. Going back, and the reason I put the ambulance locations in the map, the equability of access to healthcare is extremely skewed. We have a Zone 5 and 9 equates to about 126 square miles, 116 square miles worth of district. We have 2 ambulances. If you look at the south side, get back to that map for you. If you look at the south side, they have 3 ambulances that sit in an 85 square mile area as well as a fire medic. So when you talk about equability and response times, to me, that is a great avenue for us to pitch an ALS asset in our station and our department.
So I'd probably agree with you, and I know Doug's got a question, so, I'd probably agree with you on the square mileage, but if I go to population density, can you make that same argument?
I could pull you a map by the next meeting if you want it.
Yeah, well, because that's an argument, right? If I'm
It is.
staging based on population density,
Correct.
what is my coverage? So just a thought there. Doug, go ahead.
What's obvious in the data to me is that we have more calls in Zone 5. And even with the present ambulance staging that we have now, in Zone 9 through, I'm looking at 2020 through 2023, they beat us by an average of more than 3 minutes. Currently in Zone 9, with the ambulance stages the way they are. But they now are going to open that gap up even further, is my interpretation. So that's going to be a greater gap than we currently exist before they move that ambulance. It's going to, how do you say, aggravate a problem we already have and not getting there by 9 minutes. Am I correct in that assumption? Am I reading the data wrong?
No, it's right there for you.
That's,
The breakdown too, after this graph, is by Onzo County. Average response time shows you the times on the far left, broken down by month, and gives you the average amount, so you can even look at it.
the only move that makes logical sense here, if Zone 9 lagged, if the roles were reversed, but they're not. Zone 9 beats us with the current staging by more than 3 minutes.
Well, and I think you go back to a statement that the chief made. The ambulance is not always in the station.
Right.
So
I get that.
you're again aggravating the
Yeah.
wound because now you're way out.
Yeah, the data, I mean,
If you're at the hospital and you got to respond here,
that's right.
or as Chief has said, they've actually sent ambulances from Sneed's Ferry to come to calls.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. One let me ask you, this is being honest with the data question here. When you did these averages, did you pull out your outliers, like your hour and a half, or your call that you had right there at the station kind of thing? Did you pull those out?
So the average response times was pulled by Onslow County EMS from their ESO software. I actually went and picked it up today to finalize everything.
So this is theirs,
This is
what
their
they
data,
gave us,
how
this
they've
is what we've
submitted
got
it.
to go with.
The heat maps are pulled from,
So you didn't calculate it?
well, the
Okay.
system itself calculates
Sure.
the full
And we don't know
average.
how
So
the system, if it pulls out the outliers.
on the next couple pages, you can see the breakdown for times between 0 and 2 minutes, 0.
Okay.
So that's all there as well. So
Okay.
there's your graphs.
So I'm
for-
getting ahead.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
go ahead, sir.
So the
Anybody
next.
else have a question while we're, okay.
So the next graphs you get, now that I can go back past the ambulance, should look like this. Sorry for the ones that can't see that. But they're broken down by the entire Onslow County average response time, as well as on 5 and 9. There's 2 pages apiece, and they're broken down into years. And then they're subdivided into categories of response times from 0 to 4 minutes and 59 seconds, all the way to 30 minutes and 59 minutes to 59 seconds. So there's nothing that's over an hour. Those do get excluded. There was an outlier for that, so there is an exception. But if you look on, skipping over. Whoop. So the Zone 5 average response times, I mean, we've got 99 just in 2020 that were over 20 minutes. 2021, you start getting into the 200 range of over 20 minutes. 2022 to 2023, you're well into the 500 incidences that are above the 20-minute response time. So those are in the categorized, broken down response times at the back of the pamphlet. Any questions on those? So kind of to summarize everything, there's a couple steps that we would need to do at y'all's direction and which way you want to proceed. That the state process is very simple. We have to have the minimum equipment at the state level. We have to have the providers. We get them to come in and inspect us. What is the holdup is we have to get approval from the county to function and operate within the system, which would take 3 months for preliminary meeting to get that set up to where we have an agreement or have a tentative yes. And then once we get the hiring done and we get the equipment and all the inspections, it's another 3 months to get the firm yes. So we're looking about a 6-month minimum from the time that y'all say, hey, we're going to pursue this, give or take some time, couple weeks.
So the municipality, and this is, Raz, where we need your input here as well. So the municipality does not have the authority to operate paramedic or EMS on their own through state law?
So the general statute, and he knows the law more than I do, but general statute, the county has the legal agreement to provide medical coverage. We function under the county medical director in the EMS system plan. If we were to go out and become our own entity, we would have to pay for an associate medical director and still have the approval from the oversight of Onslow County's medical director to function under all the licenses within the system.
Municipalities have the authority to spend public monies to operate ambulance systems, but, and I absolutely am not an expert on EMS services and the relationships between the state, the county, and the towns. From what I hear and from what the chief has said, it does sound like you do have that power to set up your own system, but the state and the county have regulatory authority to oversee your system, and it sounds to me as though, as with mental health services, counties have the primary responsibility. So if a town wants to supplement it, or a city wants to provide supplemental services, you still have to adhere to their regulations and the requirements for the system to be approved. So yes, you have that authority in theory, but it sounds like the county has a great deal of say-so concerning how you manage programs, how you spend your money, and how you set up your services.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
So they would still control our system then, basically, the county would?
So when it comes to protocols, when it comes to any kind of medical oversight, we would still have our reporting software. If we were doing transports, we would have a billing company. You know, we would have different functions, but the oversight of it, we are still part of the Onslow County EMS system plan.
And it would go to central dispatch, any calls would go, and then
Correct.
they'd call us
Yep.
down here?
We cannot
Can't
create a
change
new,
that.
we cannot create a new dispatch center. They're not allowing PSAPs or the 911 centers to be created in North Carolina. So we would still route all the calls through them, you know, and we would want to be an integral part of the system and work together. That's the whole mission here, is the healthcare and wellness of citizens. So we wouldn't want to disband or unstrengthen that. But the state, for a new agency, the state has to approve a new agency, and typically that would come with us having a medical director, and then they would look at the county and say, well, are they a franchisee? Or do they have the authorization to function in your county? It is territorial when it comes to that. So there's a lot of approval process that's on the county level. And strengthening the partnerships to be an integral part, it's another resource to help.
It would put a lot of burden on our staff here, wouldn't it, if we had our own EMS service here? A lot
As
more
in,
burden on you guys?
like a standalone? So the way we operate now, there's no change other than just how we QA/QI, or quality improvement and quality assurance of calls, the training requirement for a ALS service, but that's just maintained through our training program. So we would have to rewrite some policies, but the system has a plan already, you know, in effect, and then it's actually up for revision now anyway. So there's steps to do it, and the best course and the quickest course of action is to get into the system plan as an ALS agency and then stage what levels of service. Do we want to look at a fire engine with a paramedic on it, a quick response vehicle? Do we want to get into transport and just stage it over that 3 to 5 year plan? I think I got a slide for it. Yep. So,
And we don't have these slides, correct?
Yeah.
no, these are just slides at the end. That's not in the packet. The packet is strictly data right now until we kind of get a direction of where we want to go. So some options that you have is you can do a paramedic quick response vehicle, meaning an ALS provider paramedic would respond in a SUV or pickup truck. Paramedic on fire apparatus and an EMT transport unit. If we wanted to franchise into the system to get approval, we can do a paramedic fire engine, paramedic transport unit. I mean, the options are endless of what we want to pursue, obviously over a staged time and what's approved. The quickest and the next steps would be a preliminary approval, like I mentioned, getting the personnel, so part-time and full-time, the equipment, North Carolina Office of EMS approval, which is just them coming and inspecting everything that we do have, and then the final approval from the providers committee, which is the medical director and a bunch of other entities. Oh, okay.
I just want to ask a legal question when we're done with the brief.
Okay. So the recommended course of action, which is to continue our first response EMT, we're still getting there. We've got a rapid response time. We are providing a basic level of care on the fire engines today. The only problem with that is with our 16 and 17% overlapping incidents. We're seeing more frequently that we're having to take 2 and 3 calls. Chief Stanley can attest to this, myself and him, after hours and even during the day are answering second calls. It ties that fire engine up. We've actually had one incident where we had to leave personnel and their equipment on scene with a patient just so we didn't abandon them to send a fire truck to a fire incident and then coordinate getting that person off the scene. So we are legally obligated to provide fire protection. You want to test to that, or is that one? That one's good. So we are legally bound to provide fire protection. EMS is supplementary, but it is a service that we want to provide. The quickest course of action is to make sure that we're not missing incidences or having to call in mutual aid ourselves to answer calls because we're stuck for those prolonged scene times. So The next course would be the benchmark of service enhancement of November 1st. That's the quickest timeline to get all the preliminary and the secondary, if that was the course that we wanted to go. And then quarterly review the program and then have a benchmark of July 1, 2025 if transport service is needed or if that was their direction. So the quickest course is to do what we're doing now and then explore and get the preliminary approval from the county to proceed at a higher level at your direction of what you really want to do.
Doug, what's your question, sir?
Raz, this is for you. Based on the data I see here, and I think it'll be supplemented with your recommended course of action for benchmarking, quarterly review process. I'm feeling that I'm a client who has been, based on the data I saw there, when they move this ambulance, more than likely the data is going to bear out that our response times are going to be longer. And they're currently lagging behind where Zone 5 is, Zone 5 to Zone 9 is right now, where they're supposed to bring down the response times of Zone 9 is the reason we were given during a public meeting. And that's public record. So I think you know where I'm going on this one. Is there a legal course of action that you can lay this in front of administrative law judges, League of Municipalities, and saying that decision is harming a municipality?
Short answer is to say, probably not. I mean, this is primarily a political issue between the town and the county. Obviously, I'm happy to look into it and see if there is an angle, if there are agreements between the county and the town that have requirements that.
Is his microphone?
met
I don't think it, is his
for the
microphone on?
plan, if they're acting inconsistent with an officially approved plan, if they have misstepped in that way, if the county has erred in that respect. But generally, I just, again, from what I know, I see this as primarily a political dollar of tax levy spent versus services received, the relationship between the town and the county. That's one of those things I see. I think it's a political issue, honestly. But I'm happy to look further into it. I mean, it's going to take a whole lot more knowledge than what I have right now, familiarity with what's been going on and the agreements in place and what the state has approved, and the town of Swansboro's status in that approved plan. That's a long-winded explanation. I realize that. Short answer is likely not. I wouldn't feel very optimistic about it, but I'd be happy to look further into it.
All right, go ahead, Bill.
So are there any other municipalities that have their own EMS services in Onslow County?
No, sir.
So how do you think this may affect our relationship with the county government, county, management of our, if we did our own EMS?
Quite frankly, it should be a partnership. We're here for the citizens of both Onslow County and Swansboro. We're trying to improve.
So it should be okay.
Yeah, there should be no harm or foul. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here for them, not us. So preparing and better serving the citizens is what we're here for. And I'll stand to that every day.
Well, looking at the map, I mean, the need seems to be more in the city limits in this general area that we're in now.
Correct.
And, our response time, like I think Doug said earlier, is higher. If they move that out to Freedom Way, it's higher than Zone 5. It's going to increase it even more. So, I mean, it's just.
Well, what I meant by them is the citizens, not us as in
Yeah.
person. Yeah, that's what I meant, not like Swansboro versus
I
county.
understand.
Yeah, yes, sir. Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and Bill, I'm going to say this, we didn't create this situation.
No, we did not.
So if this is a us versus them, we're trying to survive at this point. We're trying to recover for our citizens and our residents and to take care of them. I mean, this was not a choice. When you come and take the ambulance, so that all the public hear this, when you come and take the ambulance in the middle of the night and you don't communicate with our town management, you don't communicate with our chief of fire, you don't communicate with our chief of police, you don't communicate with your elected officials, it's absolutely, well, words that I don't typically say,
I
so it's
totally agree
ridiculous.
with you.
So if
100.
there's a relationship issue, there shouldn't be a relationship issue because we're trying to take care of our citizens.
I just heard some information that alluded to if we did our own EMS, there may be lack of assistance.
I would think there would have to be a mutual aid and all of
Yeah,
that,
you
right?
would, we would still have to have agreements in place that if we couldn't answer a call, but again, that goes back to the system plan, and how we function together as a team versus
Yeah.
what they're doing in that, like,
I definitely believe in functioning as a team.
Correct.
Wouldn't be on our part, for sure.
Going back to your recommended course of action, I stand by what I said 2 weeks ago. I think we need to start the process of getting our approvals. We need to look at being able to stand up a fire medic, police medic, and then look at our 3 to 5 year plan, to be able to support eventually being able to do transport. I'm not in a rush to do transport. I realize an ambulance is not cheap. But neither is a fire truck. So from that perspective, but I believe, just shucks, if you don't even show me where the ambulances are, if we just totally did away with what happened 2 weekends ago, and we just look at the response times, we're not meeting the medical needs of the residents of Swansboro. That we're not meeting that basic 9-minute mark. And that concerns me right there. And 13, without looking at it, I believe it was 13 minutes and some odd seconds for 2023. Now, one of the arguments they're going to come back with is this ABCD response time. So you could argue, what has their average response time been on their critical care calls? And so I don't know what those average response times are.
that would be a breakdown in itself, but the EMD process is flawed. That's based on how you, as the 911 caller, answer questions. So you can say, I stubbed my toe and can't breathe, and now it's a delta level versus somebody that doesn't know how to recognize a cardiac arrest, that they fell down, and that's all you get is, I fell down. That's an omega or alpha, but their heart stopped. So I've been to a couple of those. I'm not a proponent of the EMD system, but that's what we function with now currently. So the real world, we have to use that to prioritize and triage. In an ideal world, every 911 call is answered with the service. We do that now currently. You call 911, that fire truck is going to show up with the Swansboro logo on the side of it. So our response times are definitely not the 10-minute mark. You are getting care. But in the long term, having an advanced provider to do different medications, antiarrhythmics, advanced skills is what's going to be the improvement.
Okay. Jeff?
It would probably be a good idea to start off. I wouldn't be trying to throw the paramedic thing right away. Maybe the highest, maybe advanced EMT. And then we could possibly build on that after we're established and try to move it forward. Of course, this has to go and get approved through the county.
Correct.
And it's more than likely to be approved if we stay below the paramedic level. The difference, for those who don't know the difference in, there are some medications that advanced EMTs can use. They can administer fluids where basic EMTs cannot.
So go ahead. I'm sorry, Doug.
And I know for me personally, I did a lot of experience down in Pender East Rescue Squad. The highest we had at that time, they were called intermediate EMTs, if you remember that.
Correct.
And 2.5 years I was there, we went to numerous car accidents near Wilmington. And we never had a paramedic. And thank goodness nobody passed away on us. We did pretty good. We had all EMTIs at the time. I'm not saying paramedic's a bad thing. I'm just saying, to get started and get things approved, and then we move towards that. So that's just my suggestion, Chief.
Yes, sir. Just for that, the only difference in a EMT or advanced EMT now and a paramedic is cardiac. You still have to have the same equipment. So We have 3 part-time paramedics already on staff that are just not functioning as paramedic, and then myself as one. I have 1 advanced, so, but it's duly noted, and I'll write that down. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would come back, and I hear what Jeff's saying, but I don't know why we wouldn't get approved for paramedic. I don't understand that at all. If we build that, if our chief does the work to build the plan and the system and he presents it, there's no reason to not approve that. I mean, all we're doing is improving medical services for our town. I don't understand why that wouldn't get approved.
It's a huge difference. It's night and day. It's why a lot of towns don't have paramedic services.
But that's up to us. That shouldn't be up to the county. The county should be willing to say, we're good to go. We shouldn't feel like that we have to apply at a certain level in order to get approved.
And then the big question is going to be who in the town of Swansboro is going to pay for a paramedic ambulance? It's $350,000 compared to a basic unit that you could get for under 100.
But you can put a paramedic on a quick response vehicle. You don't have to have a bus. That's why we're saying over 3 to 5 years. It's not that we're providing the transport.
We can talk offline about it.
Okay. I'm sticking to my guns. We need to get everything pulled together, and because you said it's going to take you 3 months and then another 3 months, right?
Well, they just had the last providers PRC meeting, which is the first step. Speaking on the EMS plan during all this investigation, it was found that because they've had so many different directors, the EMS system plan currently is functional on one that was from 2015 to 2021. So the new one is under revision as of the last meeting. There wasn't currently any steps that I've been able to find for an agency to go any higher than EMT level. So that is something that hopefully they're considering in the next system plan update, but you can still go as a franchise to do advanced into the system. So it's still an application, but yes, 3 months from last week is the PRC providers meeting, which would be the first chance to get without special called meetings, and I'll reach out to see if that's something that they do for a subcommittee.
But I would think you need some runway to be able to pull a plan together.
I would need
You need some time to pull a plan together.
I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You tell
So
me
did
what
I
you-
understand correctly, previously y'all did something with Indian Beach similar to what we're talking about, and it took you, what,
Correct.
6 months to do it?
Correct. So they were already going after the SAFER grant. They hired me on as the first paramedic. They already had a transport unit, which was a basic level. The county was actually moving the paramedic out to go to a different area. But we did the service level enhancement, all the DEA, North Carolina license. We were ready to go by December. And they opted to wait till March when the county moved their medic out. So yes, sir, it was 6 months.
So if we were to do something like that, and they've already given us the 60-day notice, that would leave us 4 months having to depend on the Freedom Way station.
The level of care would not be impacted. We're still responding to calls. I do want to stress that. The transport unit and time would be still the same average unless they up staff and put more resources on that keeps them this way. So there would be that time frame, yes, sir.
Good.
Pat? Doug, anything else?
When I look at the data, it tells me that the decisions they already make aren't ones based in sound logic or data. When I look at our call gap growing year by year, I go from 350 to 400 to 490 plus, so the gap's getting larger in number of calls. And then the gap's also getting larger in the response times. With the exception of the 6 months this year, the smallest gap, which is 2 minutes and 10 seconds, they still beat us by. How do you arrive? I still can't figure out for the life of me. How do you arrive at the decision to move it further away? Can anyone here tell me the answer? This is what the data says. So I don't hold, here's the thing, I think it's going to be uphill battle no matter what we do, as far as if the approval process has to come through that county. And I think politics are being put above public safety. And I want that for the record.
I 100% agree. Go ahead, Bill, I'm sorry.
Myself, I agree 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, the data, and this is there, which is interesting, Chief, because my assumption was this is your data, which it is your data, but this is what was provided to you. So it's their own data that they're not paying attention to. And had, the folks that attended the meeting, we watched a presentation that said, we're not really doing this for response times. We were given, it saves $4,800. We don't have enough closet space. And I don't remember what the third reason was, but I think it was almost as poor. So now we have, Doug, if I was to answer your question, I wasn't there, but if I was to answer your question, I'm saying that the decision was made without looking at the data. And what I heard twice in that meeting was, we need to use the Freedom Way facility and it shouldn't be sitting empty, which to me is a horrible reason to impact your medical response time, is because you're worried about a building sitting empty. Sell it then and put your vehicles and your people where they need to be. And the other problem the county's got to figure out, and again, I'm saying this for the record as well, there's a problem when you can't figure out how to staff. This is a multiple year problem of staffing that the county needs to solve, and it's affecting the residents of Swansboro. And so we are having to take it upon ourselves to solve this problem. All right, with that said, board, because I'm kind of getting with Doug here, I'm getting fired up a little bit, so I'm going to back off the accelerator. And I would like your permission, board, to give our chief permission to proceed with developing a plan. And as far as I'm concerned, if he has a solid concrete plan, once he has everything in order, to present to who would you be presenting it to?
The providers and PRC subcommittees, which is the EMS oversight.
So the EMS oversight committees as required. I would require that you would have to present that to us first.
That's fine.
But board members, what's your opinion on that?
I agree. I'm with you on that.
I agree. We need to move forward, explore all of our possibilities. I think we're going to become an asset of Onslow County, though, when it's all said and done. And that's fine. It's spirit of mutual aid. So,
Doug, your thoughts?
I'm going to be there.
So, but your thoughts on us pursuing this further?
what do you think?
All right, Jeff, your thoughts? Okay, Pat. So you have a unanimous to proceed.
Sounds good.
And again, when you present to us, I would expect that you're presenting to us as if we're that board and you're trying to get that board's approval.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Your next item on the list is the cost recovery motion rate exemption, where we'll now be adding in the county non-Swansboro residents. Do I have a motion to approve the update to the resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
All right. Guys, we've been about an hour and a half. Does anybody want to take a recess? All right. So we're going to take it's 7:58, so let's shoot for 8:05. Get going. Sorry.
You know what I would love to see? Love to see a side-by-side comparison. Austin have their ambulance here. And the real answer, put the ambulance back here and sell that shit. You don't. They think they're saving money by having it there because they can show that you can't do. Cost them more to maintain that building.
Based on the data.
Based on the data.
See us. We got another 4 hours.
Go, guys. The next topic, I believe it was adjournment? Oh, sorry. No, sorry, didn't mean to tempt anybody over there in this. So 24-25 draft budget discussion. We got John Barlow and Sonia Johnson.
It's my pleasure to continue discussions with you regarding the development of the fiscal year 24-25 budget for the town of Swansboro. Last week, we did present a budget to you, which I considered with options, or I called with options. Early in budget discussions, the board asked staff to develop a budget which was referred to as net zero. That is, leave the tax rate the same at 35 cents a hundred, but do it without appropriating any fund balance. In addition, the board would like to see us present a budget that had a 1 cent tax reduction without any fund balance, as well as a 2 cent tax reduction. I presented that to you last week in the similar format that you've got tonight. The net zero was, in my opinion, insufficient as far as it had a lot of shortcomings, and I highlighted those to you where I thought there were some things that we needed to add to it to make it a little bit more successful. So the board sent us back to the drawing board and said I'd work on a couple of things, and those were to look at, in the original budget, there was a 2% COLA, to look at the idea of a merit and/or a COLA in the budget, see what you could do more for our public safety staff, police, and fire. I mentioned that we needed to look at conferences and training to make sure that we get our staff the minimum training they need to, whatever it is, certifications and training they have to have annually to perform their duties. We did that. We went back last week. Sonia and I met with department heads again. Sonia and I got together and continued to update our budget, both revenues. They come as time progresses, those will become more clear. We see trends and patterns happening this year that we feel comfortable looking at, hey, next year, they're reasonable. You know, it'd be wrong for us to say, well, let's just assume we're going to collect more property tax when you know that's just not feasible. So we feel like these numbers are very reasonable, very attainable. to present to you and to help us balance the budget to your satisfaction. Let me just kind of briefly go over where we're at now with the updated figures. You have the large sheets in front of you. That first page, right in the middle, you see the 23-24 current year budget. That's as amended, $1,638,000. That budget is balanced with $618,000 of fund balance. That's current year. That's where we stand right now. If you look at the yellow column right next to it, projected, that was early in the process, but I believe the red numbers represent more current updated numbers. We're at projected expenditures, $5,929,000, and you see the number right below it, $228,000. That's the deficit. So our expenditures right now, without any fund balance appropriated, there's a deficit of $228,000. So if we continue this trend, we're going to spend some fund balance this year without appropriating any. We do have 618 appropriated now, so it's okay. We're not going to spend that much. We'll actually probably put back 400,000, but you're going to spend some of it, of your appropriated fund balance. Looking ahead at what department heads requested in their budget request for next year, you see the deficit of about $2 million. So we had a lot of work to do without being able to appropriate any fund balance, just to balance the budget on the revenues that we knew we were going to have. So how did we do that? You see the next column, 24-25 manager recommended column. That is the net zero budget, basically what you saw last week with the updated expenditures and revenues that I just mentioned. Specifically added was the 2% merit. I left the 2% COLA in there, but we added a 2% pot of money for up to 2% for merit increases. We added back $36,000 to fire part-time salaries. That matches what the county budget is appropriating to Swansboro. So we matched their 36 with 36 for $72,000. We're also able to include a $500 bonus for public safety personnel. There's 25 total, 12 police officers, 13 police officers, 12 full-time firefighters. $500 would put us right about $15,000 to make that work. We added back the required travel and training, as I mentioned. And last we did, in the discussions last week, the board said it would consider using fund balance for one-time purchases, non-reoccurring. We're kind of at the end of the life cycle of a lot of our workstations, our computers at our desks. We just kind of wait till they're at the end of their life, that the software is not being supported by Microsoft anymore, so we've got to do something in the next year, or we're going to have some other issues. So what we did is we did appropriate $36,611 additional fund balance, in addition to those 4 items that the board said they wanted to see fund balance appropriated, and those were the sidewalks, $500,000, Christmas lights, $20,000, town hall digital sign, $18,000, and the pickleball court at estimated $150,000. So with those updated changes, we were able to balance the budget at that last column, $7,499,747. Now, if you wanted to make a 1-cent tax reduction, we could do that, but we'd have to remove, I would recommend you remove to get there, the 2% merit, the $500 bonus to public safety, and to get to 2 cents, you would have to remove both the merit, the COLA, and the $500 bonus. That would balance your budget, but I would prefer we not do that, but leave in those improvements that we made to compensate our staff. Do you have any questions?
Okay. So, yeah, my first suggestion, and again, the board and yourself can chime in, but I really feel like that the 2% COLA and the 2% merit should be combined, and that you as the town manager have the authority to divvy out that 4% to your discretion with your directors, based on, well, it's up to your discretion. I would call it performance, but you may have other things that you would like to add into that. But I believe you should combine the 2% COLA and merit as one. And if you want to give somebody 0% because they are not performing, then you have that option. If you want to give somebody 4% because they are a high performer, you have that option. That is my suggestion there. My other suggestion is, since it's basically coming out of fund balance anyway, I'm just gonna go for it here. I really, if it's gonna come out of fund balance anyway, I would suggest that the $500 bonus be a $1,000 bonus for our public safety personnel. Because it's a one-time bonus and we can't guarantee it every year. But I think, again, we are behind the curve on our personnel. I think, you and I had a discussion today that we are, hearing of another police department or public safety department, maybe I should call it, that has raised their minimum salaries. And we'd like to see some more data, I believe, if I understood the conversation correctly.
Yeah, I think at the time is good. Now, I'm sure other towns, I just happened to read an article today of another local town working on their law enforcement starting salaries, and I know we're gonna be up against the wall here soon if we don't do something. So as they adopt, if we did ours now, we looked at what their compensation package was, a month from now it'd be outdated, because I think these other towns are doing the same thing. I would like to look at what they're doing come July 1st and then make ours competitive based on those.
So my suggestion, and regardless, it's a stopgap or a Band-Aid, however you want to look at it, that our public safety is personnel, full-time personnel, as you have marked here, would get $1,000 versus $500, and the 4% COLA and merit be combined, just as, hey, we're going to give you a 4% pot of money. We're trusting you to distribute it wisely, and your director staff. So that's my suggestions. Board, other suggestions or confirmation of what I said or non-confirmation of what I said?
Yeah, that's good. Someone got to be really smart on that. If we're going to offer a $1,000 bonus, that's potentially to every person on the team. Correct?
Full-time, emergency.
Essentially $1,000 for every full-time employee.
Emergency personnel.
Emergency personnel employee, all the policemen full-time, all the firefighters full-time.
Correct.
Right? Anybody got a quick number, how many thousands that is?
$25,000.
$25,000. Damn, okay. That was quick. Sound like a good number. Who we're gonna give that to divvy out? You're gonna depend on the evaluations? I just kinda wanna know how it's gonna work.
The bonus would just go out through payroll and be taxed as normal compensation.
Was that correct? There's 25 full-time personnel, approximately.
But the two chiefs are going to say, hey, John, Officer Smith has earned that. That's how it's going to come. You're going to authorize, right, John?
Now, the longevity is a whole separate process, that if you had a 4% pot of money to give out, then it would be up to the individuals to decide, is it zeroed through 4?
The bonus
That
is
would
just
be
a
up to them.
bonus. As long as you're not under probation, and you're full-time, you would get the bonus.
Right. No, and you're talking about taking this out of the reserve fund?
That would come out of, I mean, let's face it, it's coming out of the unencumbered money anyway.
I got no issue with it.
Okay. Now, I know you're a COLA guy, so.
Yeah, I like COLA, I think, and I'm not talking about Coca-Cola.
So, are you okay with just giving John the 4%?
But,
Or do you want it separated?
Again?
Are you okay with the 4% just being a lump sum that John goes and makes a decision with, or do you want it separated?
I gotta try, I think, pretty much everybody deserves COLA. You know, I'm a COLA guy, you know. But, you know, that's, to me, that's, again, that's how we're keeping our people too, you know.
All right, Bill, what are your thoughts?
Just how close are we in salary to other municipalities in the general area of our size as far as emergency personnel? Are we we're lagging like probably $5,000 to $10,000?
I would like to update those figures come July to see where we stand, so we can make some good market decisions.
Okay. That's all.
You know, big difference, they get shot in Jacksonville though.
I don't have a problem with the 1,000.
What about the 4, you want the 4% as lump, or you want a COLA?
Well, you know, I'm not a COLA guy.
That's right, you like Mountain Dew. All right. Got it.
So I could go, 2 and 2.
So you, if you're not a COLA guy, then you want 4.
But I could go 2 and 2. I could go 2 and 2, but I'd prefer 4, yeah.
You prefer 4. All right. Doug, what would you like to do there?
Like, I endorse, give them a certain amount, then more. The only thing
That's why I say lump sum, and then it's on John at that point.
you can have bad.
He's a 4% guy.
Gotcha.
All right, Jeff.
For you.
And $1,000 you good with? Okay, Jeff, what are your
So
thoughts?
you're saying 4%
As a bucket, yep, 4% bucket,
for,
everyone.
for everybody, across
Yep.
the board?
Yep,
And then 1,000 for
EMS.
EMS?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Good with the 4%, wherever the $1,000 prorated based on spending.
Well, if you're on probation, you don't get it, right?
So somebody who's been here, I know they get a longevity also. So everybody gets the longevity. Correct? So they're getting longevity.
After how long?
But somebody who's been here 10 years as opposed to
So you think, okay, so anybody less than a year, whether probation or not, you think they should get a prorated amount, which actually we really should do because the whole goal of this is to keep them. I'm okay with that. And Sonia's nodding her head. All right, guys, you're okay with that adjustment?
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
good with that. Also, the last time I was looking at the budget, didn't we gut the training budget?
We fixed that in this.
Okay, I haven't gotten to that part yet. Okay, I'll be quiet. Damn. Okay.
Good try.
Go give me a cola.
All right, the other thing that this is really, I'd like to pull something out of this budget and put it into this year's budget because of the order cycle and the $20,000 on Christmas lights. I'd like to give Tank the go ahead and get that started in order for it to actually have an impact for this coming Christmas. So we would actually go ahead and get that done. We'd be spending that money now instead of in the next budget. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Yeah, and Tank, this is at least my opinion. I don't know if the rest of the board's gonna agree with me. I don't remember what you called these big signs out in front of the rec center and in front of the marquees. I don't really see us doing any more of the marquees. I really want to see our boulevard and our front street and our church street and the entrance ways in like that to look really nice. Board members, everybody's good? Okay. All right. All right. Any other comments on the budget for John to push forward with?
Nope.
We're all in agreement.
Good with that.
You guys know this is on video, right? That you're all agreeing on something.
Good
No,
job.
I didn't know.
Good job.
Okay. All right.
I'm good with it.
So let me, go ahead, Joe, or John. Joe, geez, between Joe's, John's, and Jeff's. Joe, you got another comment?
No.
Okay. So, John, let me say thank you, because I know we kind of like threw the book at you 2 weeks ago. And you went back and you and Sonia did very well and did some good stuff. So thank you for your patience and grinding through this and putting the extra time in. Sonia, I know this is the like worst time of year for you sometimes. Okay, all right.
I love it.
So thank you for doing your perseverance through this and listening to us as we grinded through the different questions and stuff. All right, board members.
One more, just for your information, the next step would be to have the public hearing, your first meeting in June. I believe that's the 11th. I've got to have it ready for public inspection 10 days prior to the public hearing, so around May the 1st, I'll have this recommended draft budget ready, and the clerk will have that for public inspection. We'll get you copies as well, so you'll know if you got any questions. But based on what you said tonight, that budget ordinance will be built on what you've just agreed to.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Just got one more thing to add on.
On budget?
On budget, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting with Mr. Barlow and Sonia earlier this week as well. I think it was Monday, right? Yesterday? Yeah. One thing I asked for, and I think you remember it, is capital expenditures, that we've got to start programming those 5 years out. And then we've got to capture the inventories of all that equipment we plan to maintain and or replace. And so far, my knowledge based on that meeting was it isn't currently being done, or is it accurate? Am I right? And we came away with that, but we come away with the agreement that's an effort we're going to make. Okay.
So, okay. All right, Elisa, I've got notes here on the future agenda that John and I worked through. So I'm going to go, if you'll give permission, I'm going to go through these one by one. And if you'll let the board kind of help me clean this up a little bit, because I think some of these are getting stale and old. And so we'll go from there. So I'm going to go through each one of these board members. John and I went through them. These are suggestions. If you disagree, that's okay. We can keep them. Okay. So the American Rescue Plan funding, I don't, at this point, I just think that needs to be zipped up and closed out. You got what do you got, $15,000 left? Or, so this will be closed out next week then, in 2 weeks. And how much money do you have left in that? Unencumbered. So board members, I'm going to recommend that the 9,000 unencumbered either be put to Christmas lights or sidewalks. Are the board members okay with that?
Yeah.
I don't think you can for that, can
You can't? Which one?
How about the digital sign?
Sorry about that. No, when I say you can't do that, for what that money can be spent on, I don't think that's one of the categories for sidewalk. It is? Okay, I trust you.
All right. Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
We discussed this, out of school about the digital sign. Hey, Tank, that $18,000, bid on that sign, was that the lowest bid we had?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I thought it, so if we got a little bit of this money, why don't we add something to that sign?
Do you want to add?
A better sign, a more dependable sign?
That is that's a 6 millimeter sign quoted to us. It's been quoted by a wholesale company, and that's why they were able to quote it at such a lower price compared to the other ones.
Wasn't one of their prices like $35,000
Yes.
all the way up?
And that was through another area business. But the gentleman that quoted us the 18,000 was a wholesale digital sign company who are newly coming to the area. And if you're in Jacksonville, he recommends you check out the Angry Ginger, that is a sign they just did. And he says he's getting a lot of feedback on it and so forth.
And the quality is the same, you think, pretty much?
Well, right now, our sign out there is a 24 millimeter pixel sign, and all three of them are proposing a 6 millimeter sign. So I can't put a picture on that sign and it be clear. And he brought one in here and he put lightning on it and you could see it and it was like almost crystal clear.
Are you happy with it?
Hmm?
Were you happy with the $18,000 sign?
Absolutely, yes. He went above and beyond and he was very professional and was very visual in addition to showing us
Do you
some
feel
stuff.
like the long-term warranties and stuff are as equivalent to the other guys?
Yes, he also showed us that his signs are built in quads. There's a square and the back of their square is all enclosed. So it is not easily accessible to the elements, whereas our sign that we have out there and all the other ones are completely open. You can see all of the components.
And he had a warranty with it?
Yes,
Okay. As good as the industry or better?
yes. They were all apples for apples.
About the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
just each company had different costs.
All right, so
And-
let's put that money towards Christmas signs, Christmas lights. All right, and then we'll close that out in 2 weeks. So that one should come off of this because it's going to be on the agenda in 2 weeks. All right, building standards, concerns with tarps, homes. I'm not sure who brought that up. Did I bring that one up?
Yes, you did.
Okay, and
It's kind of
so
resolved itself.
has it?
I mean,
I
I'm
think
not
we got a
seeing
couple
tarps.
houses still out there with that, but is there anything that we can do? I don't.
We
So-
don't have minimum housing codes, so it's kind of hard for us to enforce.
So
stuff
Rebecca,
like
is that something that we need to look at then, is doing some minimum housing code work? Because having a tarp on your house, I get it, you know, a year, 2 years, times are tough, but I mean, we're 6, 7,
We don't have it.
what's that?
We don't have one.
Right. You might want to use the microphone because we're being recorded live and all that. And I'm used to, and Joe's not going to think it's fair if I'm not getting on you about the microphone.
Minimum housing code, correct me if I'm wrong, Reg, the state authorizes us to have one, but Swansboro never exercised that power to adopt one.
So I guess I'm asking, is that something that we should consider doing? Or should? You're welcome to say no, or I'm just concerned we still have some, I think there's a house in River Reach West. I think there's a house in Swansboro Acres. Those are two that come to mind that I know still have remediation issues.
Mayor, the state enabling law, the authorization law essentially requires you to adopt an ordinance that is word for word, basically, follows the state act. So that is part of adopting a program of minimum housing standards enforcement. I honestly don't know, I don't know personally whether towns the size of Swansboro, whether that's most towns in this population range have minimum housing standards programs or not. They're not uncommon. I mean, small towns have it. But if you're interested in that, obviously adopting the ordinance is the first step, but then enforcement, having manpower and to carry out the standards. And it's somewhat like unsafe buildings condemnation, but it relates to habitability as a standard rather than having buildings that are unsafe and should be boarded up and possibly condemned and demolished. But this goes to things like having screens on windows and having insulation and having a sound shell and roof that doesn't leak and that kinds of things that pertains particularly to residences as opposed to buildings generally.
I got you. So John, is this something, I know you guys are like super loaded right now and have been doing phenomenal getting through all of the things that we have. Is this something to look at in 3 months, 6 months, a year? What are your thoughts on this?
Let me get, Rebecca's going to be new in her position next month. Paul was new yesterday. So between them, I think they need to get a little bit more time under their.
Okay, so leave that one on there and we'll move.
Leave it on there. I don't feel comfortable right now going.
All right,
I'll rename it minimum housing standards.
thank you. All right, so swimming pool consideration, I'm going to go ahead and suggest, and board members, you can say you agree or disagree. I know we had held off and held off. At this point, I would just say that we take it off and we say no, or I would suggest that we allow Matt Prain, who serves on our rec committee, to be allowed to create a swimming pool committee. And it's a volunteer board, and if he would like to lead a volunteer board, to see what he can do and present to us every so often, I'm fine with that. Is that something that the board is amenable to?
100%.
I'd say take it off.
You say take it off. I got one that says let him go. Bill, what do you want to do?
Let it go.
Let him go or take it off?
Take it off.
You would take it off. You wouldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be on the agenda, but I think it's something that, Matt Prain is the guy that we brought on.
Yes.
For this, and he said he would dedicate his time and effort to searching out grants and stuff like that, look for viable solutions. I don't want to inhibit that process. I want to advance that process if we
You're
can.
not okay with Matt doing that?
I don't think it needs to be an agenda item right now. I think.
No, I think it needs to come off. I'm asking,
Yeah.
can we let him go do it?
Yeah, we can let him
He
go.
can do it, but yeah.
Yeah.
You're okay with him
Yeah,
doing it?
yeah.
It doesn't
Okay.
encumber our,
Okay, Jeff said no, and Pat says no. Okay, so we got 3 yeses, 2 nos. If you could let, Anna, you and John, if y'all could talk with Matt and let him know that, hey, have at it. He's on his own, it's volunteer. If he needs time to come present to us or present to the rec board, he's welcome to do that.
But we're removing it from this list.
I'm sorry?
But we're removing it from
And
this
it comes
list.
off this list until he requests time
Okay.
before the board. And if he says he's no longer interested in doing it, then don't bring it back to us. It's done.
It'll just be an item that may be on your agenda one day.
Yes, that's fine. All right, Duke Energy presentation.
Yeah, nothing ever came of that.
They did it at the county and they
And I
invited people to
just-
come to the county, so take that one off. Wayfinding signs, it's my understanding that there's no longer interested in pursuing that, and I believe that the bandwidth of the staff is so that we can't go any further with that at this time. So I would recommend taking that off.
Agree.
Okay, so that one's coming off. High school recognitions, well, that's getting ready to come to the end. I will talk to Dr. Gross about if we've got any academic ones, because that's something that we have not done. And I would just keep that one under the community presentations. And I don't even know that you need either one of those on here anymore. They're just recurring because we created that part of the agenda is community things.
Well, I am keeping it on there because I want to make sure we have the person that's going to be presenting lined up.
Okay.
And I am open to suggestions of anything that you know that would be a good community presentation, because I'm getting to the end of my pool of people to invite in.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
So you want to keep high school and community separate, or you want to?
Well, high school recognitions was for that academic achievements where we wanted to fill the room.
So you would like to keep both on there and keep them separate?
And I think they
Okay.
should be separate, because community presentations is organizations that are benefiting to the community, and
Okay.
the high schools. a whole
All right,
other
I'm gonna
entity.
leave street acceptance of Swansgate and Shadow Creek. Highway 24 Super Street presentation, I understand that we can close that out. That's not an issue anymore. Waterfront access and development plan, I'm gonna keep that one. Sidewalk plan, if we could please add. Town code amendment to chapter 91. Do we still need that one, Chief?
Mhm. He's working through it.
Okay. All right, we talked about that. Special meeting workshops is needed. I don't know that that needs,
That's just there as the placeholder for you guys getting started, in this year. We were trying to get things scheduled up, so
yeah. Can we
Put that
take that one off, or
Yep.
you need to keep it?
I would like to go back. You said sidewalk plan.
Yes.
Can you elaborate? What are you?
Master sidewalk plan, I know we
You're
talked,
talking about your priorities?
yes,
Gotcha.
okay. Moratorium, Jeff, I know that one's important to you. Well, actually, I think we can close it out right now. So I'm gonna actually let the town manager do that for you.
No.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why I'm saying that. So could you speak to the moratorium, please?
The board members, an email about this, an opinion. There is a state statute concerning development moratoria, and long long and short is, it's not an opinion that is something that relates to a litigation or circumstances pending. I mean, there's no reason to just give you the gist of it is that you have no authority. The legislature has made it very clear that towns have no authority to impose development moratoria for the purpose of essentially pausing development to provide time and an opportunity to adopt regulations to more closely circumscribe development in the future. If you have some issues regarding provision of street services or utility services, say, so long as a development moratorium ordinance defines those problems, defines the correlation between the service demand, the anticipated new development, and so forth, and the development moratorium or very closely tailored solution and problem regarding utility and water services. In other words, there's just a very narrowly defined area where you have any authority at all to impose development moratorium. And if the thinking is that you'd like a chance to just sort of pause development in order for the town to assess its regulations, there's a statute very expressly saying you can't do that.
I get it. Oops. I get it, but I would like for us to bring it up at the board. Doesn't have to be a long talked about issue. You know, John and the attorney there say their thing, it's presented to the public, they hear it, Jimmy writes it down, and at least the public gets educated.
That is no longer legal.
And be done with it.
Can we
Yeah.
do a news release?
Yeah.
Can we do a news release? Wouldn't that accomplish the same thing?
Didn't we just do that?
Well,
Didn't Mr. Raspberry just read off that we can't do it?
Can we do a press release and accomplish the same? I'm just asking. I mean, if you want to do it, I'll support you.
I would rather do it because I've gotten emails on it.
Let's do
And
it.
If we address it as a group,
So we'll just do that at the next meeting, because that's a 5-minute
Yeah.
presentation. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody?
Okay.
All right. Very good. Moving on, sidewalk considerations to One Harbor, that's done. We do have some signatures that we'll take care of tonight or tomorrow. And Second Amendment weapon allowance at Town Hall. Doug, what would you like to do with that? Are you still would like to pursue that? Okay. Okay. So if you would offline, work with the attorney and the town manager to see if we can get this one closed out one way or the other, get it to the board.
Yep.
All right. All right, DOD grant, that's still active. EV charging fees. We definitely need a new sign. The old sign out there looks good. So go ahead.
That's still in the works to come to you, so that's why it's in there.
Is that
They're
part of the
still
new budget as well? I didn't see that.
No, the EV charging.
Will that be in the new budget? Okay. All right, text amendment to boat storage, we have to wait for that to get through the appeal process, is that correct? Or can we go ahead and start work on that?
As I recall from the previous board meeting, I think staff and council were to just look at possibilities for text changes to address concerns about the ordinance being somewhat too restrictive, perhaps. So I think that's in staff and in our hands right now. You know, there's really no direct linkage there. Actually, I was telling the manager that the attorney for the property owner called me today just to ask if anything was going on, and if perhaps he needed to request to be on the agenda to sort of offer his thoughts to the board. Told him at this point what we have is an appeal is pending. There has been no decision, but the actual the decision has been made, but it's not official, so it is not effective yet. We are in suspense, basically, right now, in abeyance, if you will. So if the board wanted staff and council to begin the process of looking at the legislation, that would be fine. I don't see there's any great conflict there between the fact that the order has not been finalized yet. The order will simply say that the code as it is written applies to this situation, and there's a violation, and that's the extent of the order.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be, you know, fleshed out a bit in a written finding, but that's really.
All right, so with that, board, with your permission, then I would ask that the staff begin writing that adjustment. I'm seeing nods, yes. Okay, and so, and again, to the staff and to the Board of Adjustments, you did the right thing, you made the right decision. We are having to adjust because of the ordinance. So what you did was excellent, and matter of fact, I was told the meeting was ran very, very professionally. So out to our Board of Adjustments and to the staff, well done on that. This is just a change for the future. All right, resolution on fund balance threshold. I think we've talked about that tonight. We still want to get that done.
Yep, so they'll stay on the list.
Okay. All right, so the only new thing I've added, folks, so we're going to clean that up a lot there. The only new thing I've added is the sidewalk priority plan. Any other items that you would like to see on the future agenda? That's enough? Got enough? I mean, John's bored. I mean, I went in today and he was just sitting back, twiddling his thumbs. No. Yeah, the EMS plan is going to put him back to work. Yeah, that's right.
So with the direction on Christmas lights, that will add a budget amendment to the upcoming meetings, so you'll see that
Yes.
coming forward. I do need to find out who's available and when you're available to do the workshop with the Swansboro Historic Association. The 23rd is not going to work for all of you, so I was wondering if you had another date in mind. The 30th has been thrown out to see when you would like to be able to do.
You can't do the 30th?
Okay, 30th.
Should we move into June, maybe like June 5th? Or June 6th? I think Elisa asked me to stay on Thursday, so June 6th work for everyone? We were talking about morning.
Joe won't be.
Joe won't be here?
So mornings are difficult.
You'll be in Ireland, so we're gonna miss Joe. Really?
Right now, you talk to my wife.
All right, so when do you leave?
6th.
You leave on the 6th, so could we do the 4th? Is Tuesday the 4th available?
Oh, I'm sorry, I leave on the 5th.
If we did it in the morning?
The morning is the difficult right now with Pat and Jeff, the
Okay.
morning time.
What about Friday well, no, we don't want to do Fridays, never mind. June 10th or 11th?
June 11th is your board meeting.
Regular meeting.
June 10th,
Could we just do it as part of the regular meeting?
if you would like.
Let's just do part of the regular meeting. The next regular meeting is fine. When's the next regular
Well,
meeting?
May 28th.
Let's just
we
put it on
already-
the 28th.
We do already have a full schedule on that with 3 public hearings and,
So you would suggest the
Poss-
11th?
I would suggest June 11th.
And we don't have any more budget workshops, correct? Shouldn't. Okay, so let's do June 11th.
10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's,
10 o'clock? Is that-
no, it'll be a part of the regular scheduled meeting.
What time?
The regular scheduled meeting. That's your regular scheduled meeting. All right, so good. Thank you, Elisa. That's great. Anything else from you, Elisa?
So we'll also, that June 11th will be the date we have our public hearing for the budget. As far as the 11th of June, those are the only 2 I have definite. We have Ricky's retreat. They'll be coming on the 25th. The Swansboro Historic Association, they also were wanting their recognition to occur in June. We're going to have to work out that date. Maybe it could be the same day as their workshop, which would be perfect.
Which was that one again? I'm sorry.
Remember you wanted to recognize the Swansboro Historic Association for the tours home?
Yes.
The homes tour?
So the 11th may be perfect for that.
If they could make that date work, we got to reconnect with them on availability, but they couldn't make anything this month.
Okay, great.
We will likely have a special use come up, but we're not sure if it'll make it by the 11th or the 25th. And you do have your quasi judicial training this month on the 29th. Please don't forget that. Raz will be in attendance to provide that training on Wednesday, the 29th. That's it for me.
Thank you, Elisa. Well done. All right, we have no items moved from consent. Oh, wait a minute. No, never mind. No, I apologize. Okay, so we are moving on to public comment, and I know Miss Linda Thornley has waited patiently to be able to present to us. So we are.
Thank you. I will take my full 5 minutes. I'm allotted, I promise. Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. Thank you very much. As you know, in a business capacity, I assist with the hotels in the area. So the company that I work for now has 5 properties in the area, and we're building another one in Sneads Ferry. So we're expanding. So obviously the discussion of moratorium kind of got me a little bit riled. But anyway, we'll skip that part. My fun job is I get to be the chairperson for the Swansboro Military Affairs Committee. And this year, June 1st, is Military Appreciation Day out at Hammock Beach State Park. For those of you who didn't get the pleasure of joining us last year, we had over 5,000 people at the park that day. We served 2,200 hot dogs, made 1,000 snow cones, gave out 200 bags of popcorn. We took 600 people to Bear Island, which we won't get to do this year. We had probably one of the biggest turnouts we've ever had. So far this year, every vendor that was there last year has signed up and will be back, including our wonderful fire department and police department, and the Onslow County Sheriff's Office will be out there. So it'll be a great event is what I'm getting at. But the MAC gets all of their funds from grants, me writing grants, us writing grants, and from, we were sponsored by the TDA this year. That was a little new for us. But we don't get any support from the chamber, even though we are a branch of the chamber, because the chamber's budget is very tight. Membership is down in that area. So we have developed our own support package, basically, if you will. We didn't want to continue to hit local businesses who get hit with everything else every time the door opens. So we've gone outside the realm. We applied for a Duke grant. We were awarded that grant. We have applied for some people who actually physically do business on base and know that we're supporting Camp Lejeune. We've applied for several of those grants. But anyway, the work continues. So far, we've met the budget that we needed to do MAD, which is entirely free to anybody who comes out there. Last year, we spent about $5,500. This year will probably be anywhere from $6,500 to $7,000, including advertisement. So my pitch to you this evening is one of sponsorship, but also there are other ways that you can join us that day. You were there last year. I think Jeff's been out there. A couple of you have been out there. Mayor was out there last year with a presentation. We have a dunk tank this year. I buttered you up to bring you on. We have a couple of the officers from Camp Lejeune who will be joining us.
I think the mayor would be.
I think we could really have some fun. It is a huge community event. I mean, we really have a blast, and we really enjoy being out there. And I think it would be great if you guys could participate in some capacity. So you'll be getting an email from me in the next couple of days. If you would like to participate, we would love to have you. You can do it in any capacity. Yeah. We thought we'd take donations for the mayor because that may make our whole budget next year, but I'm not real sure. But the fire chief is welcome, the police chief is welcome, everybody's welcome. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight and just let you know what we're doing. Thank you.
John, I'll pay for all the softballs you want to throw in the mayor for the time.
It's only 500 gallons of water. Come on. I think even the Reclaim guy earlier would support that. So.
Have you checked with USAA?
We have. We've submitted to USA. We also submitted to Geico and a couple of others, but they'll make decisions throughout the year, so hopefully we'll get some support that way. There's a ton of little funds, and that's all we really wanted. I mean, we got $500 here, $500 there. We don't have a huge budget. We do 4 events a year. We actually cut it back to 3 this year. But the big ones are MAD, Military Appreciation Day. And then, of course, we had the holiday party here last year because we outgrew the hotel. So the hotel housed about 70, 80 veterans until last year. And then this past year, we grew to 125 in this room. And we're kind of outgrowing that. We need to be over at the Rotary, but there's additional money that goes that way. So that might be a little tight. So, Yeah, so I have scholarship information or, sponsorship information if you want it. But thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Linda.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
All right, managers' comments.
A couple of months ago, the town board agreed to accept the streets for future street road maintenance into the town's Powell bill system, the roads in Charleston Park. And part of that agreement was for the town to immediately take steps to address the safety issues. I can't tell you where that is. Tank has given me a number of pictures before and after. But as of last week, he's finished all those safety issues that he had identified on his priority list. So Lisa, if you just want to scroll through Tank, you want to narrate or from back, you don't have to stand up. I know your back hurts. You don't have to stand up.
If you could hand him the microphone, though, that would be excellent. Their left foot's curling up.
So this is one of the potholes on the last, it's not even a cul-de-sac, it's just a dead-end road. And I really can't remember the name of it right now. But there were 2 potholes that needed to be repaired on that street. This is the one towards the end of the street. It actually was the biggest patch that we had because of all of the, if you see the spider webbing that is around it, we had to cut out a pretty large portion of that. Just go ahead and click forward. This is the second pothole that is right in front of a manhole cover, sewer manhole. I already had Onwassa come out and camera their pipes. There was nothing wrong with the pipes. It is simply the settling around the pipes and the fact that I had Onslow, the estimator from Onslow Grading and Paving, come out and just go over the entire area with me. And what he told me was that the base that was put down before the asphalt, whenever this was done 12 or 13 years ago, was insufficient. There was actually clay coming up in between the cracks in the road, which, if anything, it should have been rocks and some of the things that were put down as a base. But when clay's coming up, that means there was no base put down before the asphalt was put down. So this is right in front of the manhole cover. This picture is a picture of one of the sinkholes by the side, in between the sidewalk and the curb. This is after we got out there and filled it in and tamped it down several times. This was done like 2 or 3 days after you gave us the job to do this, and it is still holding up like it is now. It's not sinking. Nothing's eroding at this point. This is I guess I didn't send them in order. This is the patch of the first hole that I just showed you. You can see the width and the length of the patch. It almost went up entirely across the road and then back over about 20 feet back. So that was taken care of last Friday. This is a picture of the drain, the stormwater drain in the middle of Patriots Point. And that stormwater drain, there's nowhere for that water to go on the backside. There was nowhere for that water to go on the backside, which was causing water to stand on the road and causing a great big, the really large pothole that Doug, you sent pictures of. There's the really large pothole, and you can see one side of the drain there, and then on the other side of the street is the one that I actually took the picture of. That has now been resurfaced. We cut it out, we packed the rocks in there, but we contracted with Onslow Grading and Paving. They came in and did the resurfacing on Friday. So that one's done, and the 2 on the back are also done. There's another sinkhole next to the sidewalk. This was the one that the residents were very concerned about, that was very deep. deep enough for a child to fall in, and they were not incorrect, and that has been repaired, and no evidence of erosion going on after about a month and a half, 2 months now. There's the patch of the smaller of the two, the one that's in front of the, oh gosh, I can't remember the name. In front of the manhole cover that I showed you that had the rocks in it earlier, that has been cut out and patched as well. There's the patch going from one side of the road to the other. That was actually taken today. You can see over the weekend when it rained, you can see where the dirt has come in and gone towards the drain on this side. If you look on the other side, I think I sent a picture of this. What we did for that side where we could not get water to drain, we took our mini excavator and we took a little one of our shovels on the mini excavator, and we just dredged it out to the actual easement that's back there inside the tree line. So now that water, when we went out there today during the big rainstorm, there's no standing water on the road, and it was all flowing back towards the easement. So that should indicate that we're not going to have that problem with that road again until we do the complete resurfacing of the subdivision. This is what that looked like before we did the dredging. That's all I got. So the three big sinkholes were repaired, and the three major potholes were repaired. The other issues were we straightened out the stop signs and the street signs that were bent or missing. We are still missing one sign that is on order, and that is for Benchmark. It was Palmetto Court. It never should have been Palmetto Court because it was named something else, and we've ordered that sign, just waiting for it to get in so we can put it on.
And what about the one that was misspelled, I think? Did we get that one fixed too?
That was not in that neighborhood. That was in Deer Run.
Oh, okay.
That has been taken care of.
Oh, okay, thank you.
He left out one piece of good information. The total cost to everything he did, including the contractor, also paving, was $18,500.
So it wasn't $400,000?
$18,000.
That was taking care of the safety issues.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I got the estimate from Onslow Paving, Grading and Paving on what they're going to do about
Right.
what they estimate the entire neighborhood is going to cost.
Right. That'll be substantial.
Yeah. Go ahead, Doug.
Hey, Tank, I just got a question for you, so keep the microphone. Thank you for the repair on Cormorant this past week. That's another picture that I think, yeah, you guys did a great job on that out in front of, between 111 and 113 where I live. Excellent job. Someone came up and knocked on my door the other day, 905 Morgan, sir. I don't know if you've got that address, but similar situation going on there, not as bad as the one we had, and it's already cut. I guess someone ran a saw across that asphalt. That's somewhere on your schedule, I take it.
Yeah, so there are several areas in the town that we have cuts. There's one there, there's one on what's that court that's got that hole in the middle? Shearwater Court, which is also in that neighborhood. There's an issue there that we have cut out. So there's several that we have cut out that we are going to do small patches. I'm not in the business of resurfacing streets, but we can definitely take care of patching the small ones that, like, for example, that one. But they are on my schedule, yes.
So it's on your...
Absolutely, yes.
I'll tell you.
Yep.
All right, that's good. Yeah, so I echo what Doug said, Tank. Just fantastic to you and your team, and for making quick work of that. That was that's just awesome. Thank you. All right. All right, board. Joe.
Hey, everybody, I want to thank you guys, everybody, especially Sonia and John, for bearing with us, especially the new board, beating y'all up about the budget and going cockamamie this way and that way. Appreciate your patience with us. I think we're finding our footing. I'm glad to see that our emergency personnel are gonna get what they need, or hopefully for retention. Thank you for doing that work. And the last thing I want to know is there anything the city's going to plan for Andrea leaving? I know there's a recognition plan for her. The luncheon, farewell, anything?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's all I got.
Pretty much to piggyback on what Joe said, thank you very much for working on the budget so hard and diligently. Thank you, Tank, Bryn, and Justin, you guys getting out there and getting Charleston Park done in such a timely manner. That means a lot to us and them and our community. And thanks to the police chief and fire chief for everything you guys are doing. Parks and Rec, same thing. Rebecca, everybody does a great job. So thank you so much. But especially this time of year when you guys, I don't know how Sonia does it. I went to the TDA meeting and she rattles off all these numbers there, and then she comes here and has all these other numbers here. So, you know, it's a crazy job, but thank you so much.
Well said. Doug?
I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Mike Rose said it best and stuff. These tanks guys are the guys that go out there to make our lives better. And, you know, dirty jobs, that's the definition of what they do. And I cannot tell you my express appreciation for that. For our police officers police officers sworn tonight, good luck, Godspeed, and God be with you at every call. Now for staff, I love the work you did on the budget. You know, didn't get everything we want, but nobody's happy. That's kind of how I think it's supposed to work. You know, no one gets everything they want on that one. But we came together at the end, I think, and now the heat's going to come. Hopefully, more people will show up for the public hearing on the budget and ask questions. And any help that you might be able to give me, the rookie, on this one and how to approach that. Because what I want to do, I want to recenter myself. My heart's still going to be with them out there on these questions that they're going to have, and I'm sure we're going to get a few of those. I think the hard work, though, that you did on that gives us a lot of, how do you say it, justification, and not from an adversarial position. So, kind of put my hands together on that one before I come to that meeting, the public hearing, and hoping for the Lord's blessing of some wisdom, and also to communicate some of the things you guys were able to communicate to us during the budget process. Thank you, Sonia, on your hard work on that one. For the board and stuff, not every time I know we're not going to agree. And I'm sure that I'm going to get some heat from the board itself and some of the things I'm going to have to say about the county commissioners up there in the future. But I have a right as a public citizen to express myself in my First Amendment. When I go to those things, I will always preface that before I make those public comments. This comes from Doug Eckendorf, the taxpayer, not Doug Eckendorf, the commissioner. So I don't want to drag this board or anyone else into my personal battle that I now have in front of me with our county leadership. Okay? So God bless.
Yeah, just what the rest of the board is saying. You guys did a great job, especially on the budget. John, you pulled it together somehow. I was worried coming into tonight. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to pull it off. But you guys did great, Sonia. The chief's in the back. We're trying to do what we can to support you guys. I think you know that. We want to get you what you need, whether it be personnel or equipment. It's just that sometimes, as you know, you got to dot the I's and cross the T's before you move further. But we support you and we'll do what we can for you. And there's nobody, oh yes, thank you for showing up.
All right, Ms. Pat.
I'll echo everything everybody has said without repeating everything over, but I do want to say the budget was a great job. Thank you so much. And at the Pirate Fest was a really great event, so thank you. I think I told some of you that I thought that you could get parking at 2 o'clock since it ended at 4, and there was no parking at 2 o'clock. But did find some place to park and go downtown and enjoy it. So, and I did see the chief down there. Thank you, folks.
All right. Board members, we have a Memorial Day service coming up on May 27th at the Methodist Church. Sarah, and I say Sarah's name on purpose first because Anna has made it very clear to me that Sarah has done this, most of the yeoman's portion of this work, but Sarah has worked very diligently on the Memorial Day service, and I feel like it is going to be an excellent service. If you talk with Anna afterwards, there may be opportunity for you to participate. I don't know, but Anna can, let you know one way or the other, or you could be maybe a sub. But thank you, Anna, and please pass on gracious thanks to Sarah for her hard work. The budget, I do want to make a comment on the budget, and first, the comment is to the staff, thank you. To the directors that had to go back and sit down with your personnel and, hold on, we'll wait till these guys are ready. We good? That, go back to your personnel and tell them thank you for them helping you scrub the budget and finding where you could, how you could do things. Doing a budget's not easy. Inflation's up. I've had to sit at the dining room kitchen table this year and go over budgets with my wife and figure out how we're going to do things. Everything's getting more expensive. And so hopefully those change at the next election cycle, and I'll leave that at that. But what I will say is that this board, I think, worked diligently with the staff, and I think John worked and Sonia worked super hard to try to cut taxes. And I don't think the staff failed, and I don't think this board failed. I think the failure was in the leadership prior to you guys, and decisions were made, budget decisions were made, and money was spent that put a burden on you guys that the staff and y'all could not overcome. And maybe over time, you'll be able to overcome those decisions. But I don't think, to John's credit, that there was a good way to cut the budget by 2 cents or a penny. We could have done it, but I don't know that it would have been fair to the staff to have done it. And that is, again, in my mind, the way we spent money out of the AARP funds and the way we've been spending money out of the unencumbered money to try to keep recurring expenses to pay for things. And that's just not good budgeting. It's not good business practice. And that's what we did. And so you guys have put a stop to that for this budget cycle. So I commend the staff and I commend you guys as commissioners for stopping that practice and for now spending real money that we've got. And so not just spending and forcing the debt or the budget out on the future boards. EMS, just again, Jacob, thank you for your work that you're doing on there. I love your passion and your exuberance. I hate it that we've got this issue with the county. And what I really hate even more is that they gave us data that did not support their decision outside of it. Visually, it looks like maybe a good decision, but then when you start looking at response times, it really surprised me that they would support this decision. But it says to me they didn't look at the data prior to making the decision. I don't know. That's my speculation. But I am saddened that the county has chosen to make some of these decisions. But we're having to do what's right for the residents of Swansboro. And it may, as much as I hate to say this, it may very well affect our budget in the next 6 months or so, one way or the other. Yep. And with that really ends. So staff, let me summarize by saying again in one word, thank you. John, especially, I appreciate our times that we debate things and go back and forth. Yeah, I won't say that you're right most of the time because you are. So it goes without being said probably. So, but I appreciate the debate and the discussion. And Sonia, your cheerfulness through all of this is, I always appreciate as well. So with that, we do have an opportunity to go in closed session to talk about personnel and staff. So I need a motion to enter closed session pursuant of North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A5 to establish or to instruct the public body staff or negotiating agents concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the amount of compensation and the other material terms of an employment contract or proposed employment contract. So moved?
Motion.
Have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, folks, we'll be going to the back room. Thank you.
Who knows that? Now, John Davis got to look at, that's exactly what he has here. View of the house.
All right, dude. All right, we are out of closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone. Food and sleeping bag.
Certainly that joint did at school, like.
Have a good night.